Emma. Second, you were first, actually. You're wrong, Emma. That's incorrect. You were first. Good try, though. Timotheus, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hey, how's it going? Hi, Opal. What's up, Jesse? How's it going, Jacob? What's up, Charlie? How's it going, Woodrow? Nick, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Kimmy, thank you. Appreciate that. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get this live in front of as many people as we can. Let's try to get all the way up to 5K likes. Emma, thank you so much. Appreciate it. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. Marshall, thank you so much. Today I was reading up on the problem of hell. Just it just talks about like the incompatibility between like a just God and hell, that hell is unjust because, like, first of all, so most theists are going to think that like you get into hell by doing like X number of like good acts or whatever you believe, like exactly this hard. Lotta, thank you so much. But then it's like vague. There's like a vague cutoff where let's say like somebody on like the heaven side of the cutoff gets to go to heaven, but then somebody who's just like slightly over the edge on like the hell side of the cutoff gets to go to hell. So we have these two like extremely similar people, except one ends up in heaven and one ends up in hell. I don't know what's going on with my words. And then the other one's obviously that it's like super unjust to punish someone infinitely for finite crimes. And I think that that's pretty intuitive. But yeah, I don't know. I think the problem of hell is pretty interesting, but alas, we'll see what people... Hey, what's up? How's it going, Isaiah?
Yo, what's good? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 23, same as you, I think.
Yeah, and what religion are you?
I follow Christ, so in the sense of the original meaning, I would be a Christian versus the understanding of Christianity nowadays, which I feel falls into, denomination, religion.
Yeah, so what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Good question. Strongest argument, I would have to say, from what I've observed and you've observed, I assume everything that's created has a creator, or all creation has a creator. Like if you and I were walking across the beach, and I guess this would be more intelligent design argument, we saw ripples in the sand. We would look upon the ripples, and if you said, hey, where did those ripples come from? And I was like, well, the waves washed up against the sand and created the ripples. You and I would agree with that creation has a creator. But getting into intelligent design, calling for an intelligent designer, if we saw across the beach a heart in the sand that said, L plus M, and you said, what did that come from? And I was like, well, the waves washed up and created it. You would be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. It's far too intelligent for something without an intelligent mind to create. So that would be the strongest argument that I can think of at the moment.
Okay, so you're appealing to this like sense of like, well, every time we see something that's created, it must always come from a creator. But if we're just appealing to these things that are like in terms of like everything that we've ever seen, I mean, everything physical that we've ever seen has come from something else that's physical. So by this logic, I could just hold both of these to be true and say that the universe has always existed, and then reject God by saying that the universe has always existed. Because if physical things have always come from like other physical things, that means that it didn't come from God.
Sure. That's a great line of thinking. I like that. It challenges, and this is why I wanted to get on here, because I saw you the other day and I was just watching for a long time and I didn't get to talk to you because I think that you do a great job of, actually searching for truth, which is what I think it's all about. Not proving who's right, actually searching for truth. So I can admit when you make a good point that makes you think. So all we can observe is that physical creations come from other physical creations. So for me to say, a physical creation came from a supernatural creation is not something that we've observed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact argument. Yeah, it seems like you understand it perfectly.
Yeah. So only thing I would have to say to that is I would say at the very beginning, it comes down to we have to admit there would be a time where no one would be able to observe the start because there was nobody there. And if nobody was there to observe the start, we can say that there was an exception, that if no one was able to observe it, the exception is it was something that was designed without, with supernatural, intervention, just because nobody was there to observe it. Whereas everything we've been here to observe points to, physical creating the physical. So I guess my only response to that would be like, you're right. However, when we're talking about the beginning, we weren't there to observe it. So it would be hard to explain, how that came to be.
Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. W Grimlock, W666, W Satan, Hail Satan. I appreciate it, all of it, Grimlock. Big W Grimlock in the comment section. So the problem that I'm going to take with this response is just that why would we want a view that has an exception when I could just hold the principle that physical things always come from other physical things and stay 100% consistent and have no exceptions? So I could just assume that the universe has always existed, that there's always been physical things, and that these physical things produce other different physical things. And then that way we just hold this rule to be true and we have no exceptions to it. Why wouldn't we want that worldview? Sure.
So I guess the only other logical evidence that I would have would be, since we have, I would assume you believe, I'll have to ask, but I would assume you believe in some things that can't be explained by, physical creation. So I guess my first question, what do you believe free will is? Do you believe in it or no?
I don't. I'm a determinist or a compatible, depending on what you mean by free will. I might be a compatibilist and I might be a determinist, but I definitely don't believe in libertarian free will. I think that's super hard to defend.
What about love?
Yeah, I think that love is just going to be when you drill down, it's eventually just going to become like a bunch of physical and chemical reactions, that it's a bunch of neurons firing and neurochemicals that get released.
Okay. And then what about a basis for morality?
I think that we could probably say that there's so when we do neurological research on morality, what?
I said, is there even objective morals?
Depends. I think that there's some atheists say that there's objective morals, and then some say that there aren't. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know. I think I could give the argument for objective morals if you're interested. I could just say that there's, I could say that when we say things like bad or wrong, what we're actually referring to is just suffering. That's what it means for something to be bad or wrong, is that it just causes lots of suffering. And we could infer this based on the fact that we qualitatively experience suffering as being bad, that there's an innate badness present in the experience of suffering. In the same way that when we look at the sky, there's a blueness present in this experience that makes us know that the sky is blue. There's a badness present in the experience of suffering that makes us know that this suffering is bad.
Us meaning who? All of humankind?
Yeah, just that everybody.
Our culture?
That everybody universally knows that suffering is bad. It's literally the bad feeling.
So would you say that the cultures who have a much twisted moral compass, such as cannibalism, would you say, or even murder being okay, would you say that they are just ignoring that?
Yeah, that these things are wrong. That if there's a culture that does cannibalism or unaliving, that's bad because that causes a lot of suffering, and suffering is bad.
And those people are wrong. So it
you would just say that those people are wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my question then. Are you a vegan?
I think that veganism is morally correct. I think that that's the philosophically true position.
Are you a vegan?
Me personally, I'm not, but I would just say that that's like me not living up to my morals.
Sure.
It's really hard to be a vegan, but I think ideally I probably should be. Like, I think it's like almost impossible to defend the non-vegan position.
Wow. Dang, man, you are pretty consistent. So with that, what would you say gives humans human rights that doesn't allow animals to have human rights if it seems like you believe we're all compiled of the exact same makeup? Or not?
So what gives? I'm sorry. Can you ask the question again?
Yeah. So what gives human rights that animals aren't afforded? Like,
Which human rights are we talking about? Because I think, like, philosophically, it's necessarily going to be the case that gratuitously unaliving animals unnecessarily is bad. And I think that there's like a really simple question that gets to the heart of this.
Yeah.
What trait is true of animals that, if true of humans, would justify stripping them of their human rights?
Yeah, that's really what I'm asking you.
No, but I mean, so to me, I think that there's like no good answer, because I don't think that there's any trait that a human could have which would cause me to like think that they don't deserve rights.
That animals don't
Yeah, well, I think that
deserve the right. They deserve the right to not be a pet.
not necessarily, because I think that if you're like treating your pets well, then that's fine. It's not really an issue. In the same way, you could just like we take stewardship of beings all the time. Like, parents have stewardship of their children, and you can have like stewardship of your pets.
So, I mean, I would equate it closer to slavery than having a child. Would you not? Treating your slave right?
Not for pets, no. I don't
No?
think so.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I don't want to go too far down any rabbit hole because, I mean,
Unless of course you're like beating your pets or something, and in which case that's bad. Like, that's super
as long
wrong.
as you're treating your pet right. I was equating it to as long as you're treating your slave right.
I mean, I think I'm going to take issue with like the identical levels of cognitive capacity. Typically, when something is like like a person, or like just like a creature in general is like of a low cognitive or like a lower cognitive capacity at like a specific level, that we typically just assign like stewardship to somebody else. That we assign like, if somebody has severe mental disabilities, they get a caretaker very often.
Or just not in cages or with leashes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that you should. I think that you should be doing things that don't hurt your pets, obviously.
Sure. But fair. I don't want to go too. But we were talking about. I mean, we kind of went down a rabbit hole there. We were talking about, I guess, moral basis, and you said you do believe in some objective morals.
I'm on the fence about between like objective and subjective. I think that there's like compelling arguments on both sides. I don't know.
Sure. And you believe that. So, I like what you said earlier. So you said we have an innate sense of equating suffering with evil or wrong, right?
Yeah. That's like one stance that you could take as an atheist, is just that there's like something qualitatively bad present whenever you experience suffering. In the same way that there's like something blue about the experience of seeing the sky, there's something bad about the experience of suffering.
Okay. And then do you also believe in any form of innate justice, or do you not? Does that make sense?
Innate justice. I'm not really sure what you mean.
Do you believe at all that evil will be punished in any way and good will be rewarded in any way at all, ever?
Will? Not necessarily. I think that it should be. I think that evil should be like rehabilitated, and there should be like some act of restoration. But,
Right, but
I'm actually really
we would
interested in this
control
like punishment conversation. Do you believe in like the conception of hell, where it's like you get tortured forever and you can't leave?
Honestly, I don't know that the Bible says that. The only thing I'm confident that the Bible says about the conception of hell is that it's separation from God. I believe he uses the terms eternal damnation, or at least eternal. I don't know too much.
If it's eternal. It also talks about like it talks lots about fire, that there's like a lake of fire that everybody's like cast into, that there's burning, gnashing of teeth. Yeah. So it seems like it would be like eternal
punishment.
Yeah, eternal suffering. So in what way is it justified to punish finite crimes with infinite punishments?
Well, good question. I would say you said earlier or just now really that you don't believe in justice.
Whoa, that's not what I said.
Innately, that evil will be punished, good will be rewarded.
I think that it should be like rehabilitated, but it's possible that somebody I don't think that like justice necessarily happens all the time. I think that there are some injustices that never go punished.
Yep.
But I wouldn't really summarize that as saying like I don't believe in justice.
Okay, my bad. I didn't mean
you're chilling.
I would say you and I are alike in that we both, I would hope, agree that evil at the very least should be punished.
Of course.
And with that, we know that it doesn't always happen, or unalivers get away with unaliving all the time, and so on and so forth. And I would say I delight in the fact that there will be restoration for those crimes, whether finite or not. And I delight in the fact that we always have an opportunity to turn away from those finite or not crimes.
Wait, so you're saying that in hell you can say like, oops, my
always,
bad, and then you're
course,
good?
No, and always, of course, what I mean is during our time here on Earth.
Gotcha. So in the grand scheme of things, this like blip on the map of your eternal existence.
Sure.
Gotcha. Okay, so do you agree that in order for a punishment to be just, that it needs to be proportional to the crime?
In order for a punishment to be just, it needs to be proportionate to the crime. I do.
Yeah.
I do believe
So how is it just to give infinite punishment for a finite crime when these things aren't proportionate?
Well, infinitely on this earth right now, if you're saying that, if you're comparing our time on this earth to actual eternity, I get why you would have an issue. But if we're talking about your time on your existence on this earth as eternal, then I mean, I don't know how you can call them infinite crimes, because if you think about it,
For finite crimes, you do like finite transgressions. But Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. W Grimlock, W666, W Satan, Hail Satan. I appreciate the hell out of it, Grimlock. Big W Grimlock in the comment section.
I was saying, sorry, what was I saying? If you commit a crime over and over and over and over with no remorse in your heart, and you repeatedly say, I don't accept your forgiveness, I don't want a relationship with you, I don't understand how you can rationalize God still forcing you into eternity with him after you die, if all you did with your existence was say, no, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that.
So the implication is that you're saying that you just like chose not to, but the problem with this is that in order to make a choice, you actually need to have a good like cognitive understanding of the outcomes of this choice. Human brains are finite. We can't understand infinity. That means that we can't understand what infinite torture would be like, which means that we can't say that anybody can choose infinite torture when you literally don't know what that is. Like nobody knows what that is. Chris, thank you so much for the 10-cent subscriptions, and AG, thank you so much for the jellyfish. W Chris in the comment section, welcome to the community for everyone who got one, and WAG in the comment section as well. I appreciate that.
The only thing with that is I don't know that God is asking us to choose him so we don't have to go to hell. I don't know. I haven't seen that to be what he's asking of us, to choose him so we don't have to go to hell. I mean, that's it sounds like that's your argument, but I haven't seen that to be what he's asking of us. It seems like he's asking of us to love him for simply being great. He's great. He created us as God. He's the giver of all good things. He's asking us to be grateful, thankful, and loving to the creator of all good things. And I haven't seen it. And I know your response, or I assume your response is going to be, upon the threat of hell, but I don't think those two things are correlated. I think there's the one thing, and then it's not the consequences of not doing that. It's more so, like I said earlier, is, you not taking that free gift. That's the other alternative.
Okay, so let's put it like this, because it sounds like you're saying that it's not really about choice, or you're not saying that like you choose to be in hell, that it is in fact God punishing people, which is fine. So the question just becomes this: I want you to imagine somebody who you love very deeply, the person you love the most in this world. What would this person need to do for you to think that they deserve to be tortured forever?
What would this person need to do for me to think they deserve being tortured forever? To me, or in general?
To you. What do you think this person would need to do? Or no, I mean, not to you, but like in general, what would this person need to do for you to think that they deserve to be tortured forever?
Okay, so I'm picturing my baby sister, my sweet 13-year-old sister.
Chris, thank you so much for the boxing gloves. That's sick as fuck. W Chris in the comment section. I've never seen that one before. That's rad.
I would say, for me to think that my sweet little angel of a baby sister to deserve to be separated from God for all of eternity.
No, not separated from God, just to be tortured forever. You don't need to like put God into it. Just think about like, well, what would they need to do to be tortured forever?
Well, you asked me what I believed hell to be, and I said it was separation from God. But if you're just making a different,
well, because you hold the, like, I mean, the Bible holds pretty clearly that there's like lots of torture in hell, and also that it's eternal. So torture forever seems pretty accurate.
I would have to read up better on that. But I guess just for the sake of your argument, well, I won't nitpick your wording.
I can give you some verses if you're interested.
I would be interested. I'll write them down.
Yeah, let me pull it up. I was looking at some page just today.
My man, reading the Bible.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was reading Bible verses. I was looking at like a collection of verses.
Okay, I'll write them down.
Yep. Okay. So on boop boop boop. If it would pull up, please. Okay. Come on, Wi-Fi. You got this. Okay. Yeah, my Wi-Fi's getting. Oh, okay, yeah, perfect. Okay. Revelation 21:8. But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic arts, the idolaters, and all liars, they will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Matthew 25:46. Oh, okay, wait, yeah, that's just like the eternal one. Matthew 13:50, and throw them into the blazing furnace where there will be weeping and gnashing teeth. If your hand, Mark 9:43, if your hand causes you to stumble, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life maimed than with two hands to go to hell, where the fire never goes out. Jude 1:7, they serve as an example of those who suffer the punishment of eternal fire. So it sounds like eternal torture is probably accurate.
Okay.
So what would it take for you to think that your baby sister who you love deserves to be tortured forever, infinitely?
Good question. My answer is going to be obviously biblical. It will have to be, she would have to reject God's sacrificial act of forgiveness.
You think that's like such a low... Wait. So if your sister grows up to be an atheist, you think she deserves to be tortured forever?
I didn't say an atheist. I said if she rejects God's sacrificial act of forgiveness by sending his son down on the cross, which is the only way that we cannot be the things that you just read in Revelation, vile, murderer, sexual immoral. The only way that we can atone for that is by accepting God's great gift of sending his son down.
Do you think atheists get into heaven?
I think people who reject that gift can't be forgiven, because in order to be forgiven, you have to accept that gift.
Gotcha. So if she rejects that gift, you think that she deserves to be tortured forever. Atheists reject that gift. Therefore, you think that if your baby sister grows up to be an atheist, you think that she deserves to be tortured forever? Really?
Really? Yeah. If she rejects the gift of life, if she rejects wanting to spend eternity with God, I can't rationalize God forcing her to still spend eternity with him. I can't rationalize that. And also, you know that sin has to be separate from God. So in order to be close with God, we have to accept that forgiveness.
I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about just torture forever. What do you think it takes to get, what do you think, like, just take the God in the Bible all the way out of it. What would it take for this person to get tortured forever? What do you think they need to do to make that just?
To make what just? I'm sorry.
To make getting tortured forever a just punishment.
Well, I get my sense of justice from God. So whatever he says, which I've already communicated, that is what I choose to believe, to be the ultimate,
So if one day your sister proclaimed herself to be an atheist and then someone like kidnapped her and tortured her, you'd think that that's chill?
Well, obviously not. Come on.
Why not?
Why in the world would I say yes to that?
Because that's exactly what God does.
Well, no, it's not exactly what God does. Here's one thing that you're not taking into account is, say that my sister was unalived early and she was an atheist when she was unalived. We know that God is outside of time. So I don't even know that she would be banished or tortured forever, because God is the only one who, one, knows that, and two, is outside of time. He could know that if she lived her full life, that wasn't the decision that she would end up making. He's outside of time. So, I mean, I don't know if you've even thought about that, but the situation that you gave me is not even worth thinking about. But if you,
it's the exact same scenario, right? Like,
well,
you think that your sister deserves to be tortured for rejecting God, but then you don't think that your sister deserves to be tortured for rejecting God.
By a human.
Will, thank you so much for the $2 on Cash App. For 400 billion people are in hell right now. W Will in the comment section. I appreciate that. Okay, wait. So if you're saying that morality for God is different from morality from humans, then it kind of raises the question, where do humans get their morality from, if not from God? Like, is every aspect of human morality present in God? Or do we have like a unique morality that is in no way embodied by God?
Yeah, no, there's a great passage on that where I'm sure you're familiar. Jesus says, whoever is free of sin can cast the first stone. We are not worthy of instilling justice at its highest form, such as, torturing or killing. It says very clearly that we don't have the power to decide who lives and who dies, because we're not free of sin ourselves. So we don't have that. I don't know if that's what you're asking, but we definitely don't have that power to take.
Do you think it's wrong to put people in jail?
Well, no, I don't think it's wrong to give people to take people away from society who are being harmful to society.
Yeah, but so, I mean, presumably you would want to like rehabilitate them if you had like any, do you think the unaliving penalty is wrong, for example?
Good question. I think biblically it is, but I mean, I would have to do some more research before I say yes or no to that. But I believe biblically it is, because I know the verse that says, we don't decide who lives or die. Those are
I mean,
dying.
but there's like plenty of places in the Bible where it like gives crimes and then says that thou shalt get like the death penalty for this. Like biblically, the death
You'd have to
penalty
give
is
me
all
the verse.
over.
You'd have to give me the verse on that.
Yeah, we could do yeah, let's look it up.
Like I said, I get my value of justice from God. So if it's in the Bible, that's my answer.
I think it's going to be 21:18
Matthew,
Deuteronomy 21:18
Old Testament.
18 through 21. If someone has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey his father and mother, who does not need them when they discipline him, then this father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of his town at the gate of that place. They shall say to the elders of this town, this son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He's a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of the town shall stone him to death. So you shall purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear and be afraid.
Yeah, so I know that I assume that you know that the Torah in context has been fulfilled in the coming of Christ. So I know that you know that if it's not in the New Testament, then obviously that was referring to in that time for the Levites in ancient Israel who were,
Wait, so where does it say in the New Testament that like JK never mind the Old Testament? Like where in the Bible are you getting this from?
Well, in the Old Testament, when you read that, it's specifically referring to, especially in Leviticus, specifically referring to the Levites in that time who were in ancient Israel. So there's that, and then I believe in Acts, I'll have to look up these specific verses as well.
Yeah, but I'm just asking, like, where does it say JK never mind in the Bible?
Yeah, I'll have to get the specific verses in the New Testament, but I will tell you it does specifically read in context in the Old Testament about referring to in that time.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'd be really interested in reading that. I just don't have I've never seen this verse before. Like, I've asked a lot,
Sure.
but it seems like I just like nobody can provide me with the verse that says very clearly, like, Old Testament goes away. We're not following that anymore. And also, this implies that at some point the death penalty was right. So you would still have to tangle with this problem just with that time period.
Well, I would say the punishment for sin is death, but the gift of Christ is eternal life. So with that verse, before Christ, the punishment for sin was death, which is how I can rationalize the Old Testament, versus the coming of Christ, the gift of God, eternal life. So we had grace, mercy, and a second chance to repent from sin. So that
Gotcha. So just to clarify, your morals are relative.
Well, I don't know what you mean by relative in that sense, but
Yeah, just that your morals change based on the time period.
I would say that, my morals are a mix of relative and objective.
Gotcha. As long as you understand that your morals aren't objective as you seem to like want them to be.
No, I didn't.
Shrimp
I didn't
flavor.
ever
Thank you
say
so
that.
much for the 1 month subscription. Appreciate it. Welcome to the community.
I didn't ever say that they were fully objective. They're a mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine, I guess. I mean, it's so if goodness
Actually,
is
yeah, let me-
relative,
actually-
does that mean that God
Romans.
changes?
Let me pull up Romans, because I know that leads to relative morality, which you just reminded me of. So there are a lot of verses in the Old Testament condemning eating, certain meats and all of that. Then Romans.
So, okay, wait, because I'm interested, because it seems like if God's all good, but goodness changes, that means that God would change. So do you think that God changes?
Do I think that God changes? No.
Gotcha. But God's all good and goodness changes.
Yeah, what he allows, permits in time, I have noticed that we've seen change in that. So, I mean, like a lot of people bring up slavery, which was very obviously permitted. You would have to be silly not to admit that was obviously permitted in times in ancient history. Now, obviously, it had very clear guidelines about how to treat your slaves with dignity and respect, and to pay them. but it was obviously permitted, which I would argue it's not permitted now, would not be okay now. So yeah, I would say that it what is permitted has changed over time, just due to our progression and evolution.
Okay, so did God ever command something that wasn't fully good?
I would say no.
Gotcha. So for like the Amalekites, for example, you do think that the slaughtering of the children was good, right? In 1 Samuel 15:3, when it says like go and like slaughter the kids, you think that that was good?
Yeah, if God commanded it, then it was good. God's commands are good in that time.
If God commanded you to take to the streets right now and start unaliving non-believers, would you do it?
Well, God didn't, wouldn't, and
He did.
would not command
That's what he
me to
did to
do
the
that.
Canaanites.
Well, in that time, like I said, God, who was outside of our limited understanding of time perspective, gave a command. Yeah, it's good. Now, I don't know how he gave that command. I'll have to read that verse in context. But if it's what he commanded, then we have to say that it was good. He's outside of time. He's outside of our understanding and reason.
Gotcha. So if God commanded you right now, though, to take to the streets and start slaughtering non-believers, would that be good?
How would he command me? You have to be more specific.
Yeah, he would just like beam down, be like, hey, what's up? I'm Jesus. Like take to the streets, start slaughtering non-believers. And then he'll just like, okay, later. And then he poofs away.
He beams down.
Yeah,
so
he
I
beams
physically
down.
see him. I
Yeah,
physically
beam
see
me
him.
down the Father. All right, beam me up the Father.
And he tells me to do what?
Yeah, he just tells you to take to the streets and start slaughtering non-believers. Would you do it?
Yeah. That would contradict what he says and calls us to do in the very first and most important commandment: love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. So he would not contradict, the commandments that he's given me in the word.
But he already contradicted that when he commanded the slaughtering of the Canaanites for that exact reason.
He did not contradict that.
The explicit reason he gave for why the Canaanites needed to get slaughtered, yeehaw, thank you so much, Leah, was because they were non-believers.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I'd have to read in context, but I don't know the full context around that. But I do know that this was in the Old Testament before Christ came and gave an actual way to redeem us for our sins, which we obviously have now, which would contradict me slaughtering anybody.
Oh, wait, but how do you know that he wouldn't just like command you to do it now? Because the thou shalt not kill, that comes from the Old Testament as well.
Yeah, because it's also in the New Testament where the Pharisees come to Christ and they ask him while he's on earth, what is the most important commandment? And he says to love the Lord your God and to love your neighbor as yourself. And obviously it would not be an act of love to murder.
Shirley, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo. Big W Shirley in the comments section. If anybody else wants to support the stream, the Venmo is allegedly -Ian and the Cash App is just allegedly Ian. I appreciate the heck out of that, Shirley. Thank you so, so much. So are you saying that the Son disagrees with the Father?
No, I'm saying that in the coming of Christ, we have redemption, grace, forgiveness for our sins, which we did not have prior to the coming of Christ on earth.
Okay, so how does that mean that God would never command you to slaughter non-believers?
Well, I said it would be a direct contradiction.
What
to
part of that would
highest
contradict?
commandment. To love your neighbor.
Okay, so was it very like loving that is love thy neighbor an eternal truth?
Well, Jesus said it.
But isn't
When he
it
came
was it true before Jesus said it?
Of course it was true before Jesus said it.
Okay, gotcha. So was it very like loving of thy neighbor when God commanded the slaughtering of the Amalekites and the Canaanites?
Well, it was not. It sounds like a human deciding to do that on their own. It was
No,
God
we can just
commanding.
We can just pull the verse up. It's 1 Samuel 15:3.
God commanding it. So unless you are smarter than God, outside of time and can fathom his reasoning, I'll let you explain why he commanded it. But I am not outside of time, outside of God's reasoning, and cannot fathom God's understanding. So I can't reason, why he does what he does. But it's all good.
Yeah, but you do recognize that it's contradictory, right? That it can't be true that you should love thy neighbor if God is commanding the slaughtering of thy neighbor.
I cannot. Well, it's not contradictory. He's calling us with our free will to love our neighbor, right? And then if he makes a commandment for us to do something, it's outside of what we're doing with our free will as a follower of Christ. We surrender that free will and say, yes, God, I'll do what you call me to do, even if I don't understand it right now. I'll do what you call me to do outside of my free will. So they're two separate things, what God commands and what we're supposed to do in our free will.
Gotcha. Wait, did they have the free will to not follow God's command?
Well, if they chose to surrender their free will, then I would say no. If I choose to surrender my free will and to just do what I'm commanded, then I would say no.
That's too bad, because that's actually the opposite of how the story goes, where they actually don't fulfill God's command. They slaughter almost everybody, but then they leave a couple people and a couple animals alive. Mm-hmm. Or I think they leave like one person alive and then like some animals alive. So, yeehaw. Thank you so much, Becky. So your theory about what would happen is just like empirically not what happened.
Well, I didn't have a theory. They obviously did not surrender their free will and fulfill God's command.
Oh, gotcha. Wait, so then they're saying like with your free will you ought love thy neighbor, but of course they were still following their free will, which means that they should have loved thy neighbor, but of course they went and like slaughtered their neighbor under God's commands. Yeah, so how is that consistent?
I think you were making it inconsistent with the way that you're wording it. I'll word it one more time and you tell me if it doesn't make sense. That's okay. I'm a poor communicator, but last time, if God commands us to use our free will to love our neighbor, we continue doing that. Now, prior to the coming of Christ, God comes down and commands someone to do something, then we surrender our free will and do what God commands. Now,
wait, so you're saying that when the Israelites went and slaughtered the Amalekites, they didn't have free will?
No, they're not choosing to exercise it. We always have it. Now, we don't choose to exercise it when we surrender it to what God commands us to do.
Wait, so you're saying that they when they went and slaughtered the Amalekites that they didn't choose to?
Well,
that's just like very confusing. Wait, so they just became like automatons?
No, their free will is to do what God commands. It's not my original thought, idea, or even compulsion. It's me saying, God, whatever your will is, I'll do. Whether I thought of it, chose it, compelled to do it or not. I don't know if I'm communicating well enough, but it's either you exercise your free will or you exercise God's will. But sometimes those align, sometimes they don't.
So every time you're exercising, okay, wait. But you think that this is one of those times when they don't align, when this is an exercise of free will that doesn't involve God's will?
Say it again?
So this is an exercising of God's will that doesn't involve free will, and yet they also go against God's will?
This is an
Is this instance an exercising of God's will or not? Because God gave them the commandment to slaughter all of them. They slaughtered almost all of them, and then God was unhappy that they didn't slaughter all of them.
Yeah, it sounds like a mix.
Okay, so at what point is like does love thy neighbor come in? So at the points that are like purely free will, the sparing of thy neighbor, that seems like that would be a good thing, right? That if they love thy neighbor, that sparing the king of this nation would have been good, but God was very upset about that. If love thy neighbor was true always, why would God be upset about them sparing their neighbor?
Well, it sounds like he gave a very specific command.
Yeah, that like is a direct violation of love thy neighbor. Yeah.
Stop exercising your free will right now and do what I command you. And now, like I said, when the coming of Christ happened, we don't have these instances where God says, suspend your free will and do what I command and punish others, because as we know, God's gift of eternal grace, it takes away this whole, the punishment of sin is death on earth. We have the gift of God, which is eternal life. Which
Do we need to
I've said
use our
multiple
free
times.
will to choose to follow God's commands?
Yes.
Gotcha. So then if they followed God's commands, they did it out of their own free will.
Yeah, it's called surrendering.
Okay, wait. So with their own free will, they slaughtered the Amalekites.
Well, with surrendering their free will to follow God's will, they did. I mean,
Did they still have free will while they were slaughtering the Amalekites?
Of course, we always have free will. We can choose to suspend what we want to do and follow. Like, dude, if I have a girl and I want to cheat, that's what I can do with my free will, right? That's my free will to go and cheat. But if I say, no, I'm going to stay loyal, it's not like I don't have free will. It's just I'm suspending what I want to do for what I know is, what I'm called to do.
Okay, so then we just have a direct contradiction that at one level we have God saying, or that it's like an eternal truth that you should love thy neighbor. And then we also have God saying, go and slaughter your neighbor, that the Amalekites should be using their free will to both follow God's command to slaughter their neighbor and also following the eternal truth that you should love thy neighbor, which means that there's just a direct contradiction between these. I don't know. I'm not sure how you don't see this. This is like just a direct contradiction.
I think you are. I don't think you've addressed what I've said about the coming of Christ, fulfilling the punishment of sin. I don't think you've addressed that at all. I think you've glossed over it every time I brought it up.
Wait, because we're talking about like whether it's an eternal truth. We were talking about the Amalekites specifically, and it seems like you see the contradiction, but you don't have an answer. So now you just want to go to the coming of Christ. I mean, if you want me to address this, I think the strongest argument is to just ask you to prove this claim by proving the Bible is true.
Fair. Yeah, fair enough. If that's the direction you want to go.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, what's your proof that the Bible is true?
Now, first off, I don't believe in proof. It depends on what your definition is. The definition I've come to understand is to show it could be no other way, which nobody can prove anything.
What, like evidence, maybe?
Yeah, sure. But an abundance of evidence, if you take that as truth, then I could provide an abundance of evidence.
Yeah, provide the abundance of evidence.
So what do you, I would like to assess where you are. What do you think the Bible is in terms of its validity? Because I know you can admit that there's strong, I would be very bewildered if you said that Jesus never existed, but I would assume that you believe in the archaeological evidence that's supported in the Bible and, what we've come to find. I assume you believe in the Gospels in terms of the events, the historical events. No? Okay. What do you not?
Depends. So it
believe in?
depends. So I accept some of the natural stuff and then I reject all of the supernatural stuff.
Okay.
Depends on the book. Like for Genesis, I would reject like all of Genesis. Like none of this happened. For Exodus, the evidence seems to indicate that none of this happened. It's really just going to depend on the book.
Okay. Specifically, the Gospels or New Testament, at least, you believe in the existence of
There's no evidence that the Gospels were written by the people they're ascribed to.
Okay. Do you believe in the existence of Jesus?
Yeah, it seems like there's historical books from like hundreds of years later that seem to have mentioned him. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what's your evidence that the gospel, or do you just have a lack of evidence that the gospel was written by the authors that are claimed?
Just that they were written like a really long time after the fact, that Matthew and Luke are at times like word for word copies of Mark, that the authors of Matthew and Luke didn't write their own accounts. They just copied off of Mark. That's like pretty damning evidence. The fact that, or I already said that they happened a long time. John is illiterate. He can't write. I'm not sure how he's writing in a language that he didn't speak if he's illiterate.
Okay. And do you not support collaboration as a viable option for why there are similarities between the different gospels?
So your theory is that they collaborated, but by collaborate you mean like directly copied it down?
Yeah. I don't see why that would make it false just because, hey, I wasn't here for that. I know that Mark was. So that the story doesn't, jump all over the place. I'm going to put what Mark spoke about here, and then continue from where I was able to witness my.
I'm pretty sure I can't remember exactly who, but I thought that like two of them didn't even know Jesus.
Yeah, Luke and Luke for sure.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what like relevance the eyewitness testimony of like. So first of all, I'm still I guess that is my evidence that they weren't written by the people that they're claimed to have been written by, just that they happened a long time after the fact, and that like they're written in a language
a long time after
that John didn't write in and didn't speak. So wait, but what's your evidence that they were written by these people?
Yeah, thanks for answering that. I guess my evidence, not that they were written by the people that they were written by. I mean, I would go back to, I would say that they have no reason to lie. They have nothing to gain to lie from it, especially since they were martyred.
Wait, but you're presupposing that they claimed this. So where in the Gospels do they claim authorship? Let's just keep it simple. How do you know Mark was written by Mark?
Sure, I think it was generally accepted as the truth since the moment it was written.
Can you prove that? I'm just trying to.
Yeah. It's
according
like,
to who?
how can you prove that Lincoln wrote the Gettysburg Address?
Well, I mean, it was like signed. The Gettysburg? Isn't that like a speech, or am I tripping?
Yeah, I think it was Abraham Lincoln. I'm not like.
Yeah, he like fucking gave the thing, and then it was reported by in the newspapers that we still have multiple of them.
Yeah, but how can you be sure?
Yeah, so that's just going to come down to the evidence pointing towards the fact that it actually happened based on the existence of multiple newspapers dating from the exact same time, who are all giving the exact same story. Plus, it was probably recorded word for word in like multiple places.
And I believe the same thing to be true about the authors of the gospel now.
Yeah, so can you point out to me like the multiple places that it was recorded that Mark wrote this down?
No, I can't, and I'm not going. And if that's the level of evidence you need, I would say you need to. That's a tough way to live life. Like,
why?
So the Gettysburg Address delivered by Lincoln, I'm not going to ask to hear or see all the documents that said he actually wrote it. It was because accepted since the time
it should exist and it should be out there though, but it's not. Is the problem? Like I could tell you how we know like Plato's writings. We know that Plato's writings are Plato's writings because they're cited by multiple people from the exact same time period. That we have Aristotle saying like, yeah, in this writing, this thing happened. And then we have like Diogenes, the historian, 200 years later, is like, yeah, and this writing, this thing happened. And then we have like contemporaries like Aristippus who write, yeah, in this one, this thing happened. And then when we look at the story that we have, like the dialogue of Plato's that we have, we look at it and it says exactly what everyone says it says. So that's how we know that this is one of Plato's dialogues.
Sure. And I will say this, man, I am all about search for the truth. So I'm not going to sit here and like try to just will you to believe something because I believe it so strongly. I don't believe in that. I believe that there has to be a, evidence supporting things. So I guess the only thing I would say is the two reasons that it's convincing to me is that one, I don't know what reason they would have to lie.
Well, we don't know that they even made the claim.
Sure. And then two, if I wrote or recorded something back in that day where there was no such thing as, the literary styles of, fairy tale and fiction, I have no idea why I would even try to get other people to back up the fact that I wrote it because I would be so confident that it would be widely accepted just because, I guess, of word of mouth. But
wait, are you familiar with Aesop's fables?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know when Aesop lived?
No, let me be more clear.
Like 400 BC, which is like quite a bit before these books were claimed to have been written. So like fairy tales and fiction absolutely existed.
No,
like 100,000,000% they exist. Also, thank you so much for the subscription. Appreciate it.
I should have been more clear. More so, in terms of using like archaeological evidence as well as living existing characters and then writing them down in a book while giving them simultaneously false traits.
What's the archaeological evidence?
I would say the places that they were in.
Do you think the existence of New York is evidence of Spider-Man?
Well, that is now a style of writing. That was not a style of writing.
Okay.
In that
Do you think
time.
do you think the existence of Greece is evidence of the Odyssey?
The evidence of Greece is evidence of the Odyssey? No, I didn't say that the place was direct evidence of all events. I was saying that if you track these places, they are still accurate, and there was no way to there was no writing in that form in this time of like using people, events, and archaeological evidence to write a fairy tale.
Well, that's exactly what the Odyssey is, by the way. The Odyssey is like using people, like real people, real places, and real events to tell like a fairy tale.
Well, I'll have to look again, just because I was reading this straight from the source, but in terms of the historical evidence in the Gospels, it's something that everyone agrees to be the truth.
Absolutely not. That's not the case at all. In fact, the Gospels can't even get their own story straight. So I'll ask you a basic contradiction.
Does not? You're
Was
asking.
Jesus executed on the preparation day for Passover, or was he executed on Passover?
I don't know. I have to look at the specific.
The Gospels disagree with each other because John says that he was executed on the preparation day for Passover, whereas Mark, Matthew, and Luke say that he was executed on Passover.
Well, I think I've heard about that when they were just saying if it was very possible that he was crucified on the first day, or the first day that you mentioned, and then through the night he was hung and potentially executed or died on the day that you mentioned, the second day that you mentioned.
No, absolutely not, because there's literally a passage that says like, but then they like removed Jesus because they got because it was the preparation day after Jesus was dead. They had him like removed. They removed all the people from the crosses.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that it says on the preparation day he was removed from the cross,
Yeah,
and then another gospel says that.
yeah, that it was like Passover supper, the Last Supper.
Well, I'll have to. This is something that I'll have to read into myself, just because I can't take it from you. But I'll definitely look in context.
Yeah, please. Do you have anything else for me? Otherwise, we've been talking for a while.
Yeah, sure. No, I think it was a good conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It was good to hear from you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, dropping a follow as well if you never want to miss a live in the future. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. If you want to support the stream, the Venmo's allegedly-Ian, and the Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Link to it is in my bio. Link to it is not in my bio. Both of them are in my bio. But if you if you're 18 or older and you want to join the community, there's a link to the Discord in my bio. Christina is Chaos. Do you want to return to the app? I can't hear you if you're off the TikTok app talking. Oh, I accept your surrender. Christina is Chaos. Folded like a chair. Scrambled like an omelet. Reformatted like a hard drive. Get your ankles absolutely shattered. You will never debate again. What's up? How's it going?
Doing good.
Yeah, how old are you?
I am like 22.
Yeah, and what religion are you?
I'm Christian.
Yeah. What's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Well, not that I know of. I've been reading the Bible for like a long time now. and it just really helped me out through the hard times and rough. Like you said, don't.
That's a personal experience. I'm looking for
Yeah, I
like
know.
arguments that don't
Yeah.
involve personal experiences.
Yes, I know. And what I've come about the Bible and all that stuff is that like it's not even about like literal meanings. It's literally just like the context of what you take it as.
So God's a metaphor?
No, I did not say that
Gotcha. So then what's your strongest argument for the existence of God?
because God is real.
Yeah, so God's real because
And
God is
the
real.
order of the
Gotcha.
cosmos, like, come on now. That too.
Yeah. So God's real because God's real, but why is God real?
Because of the order and design of the cosmos.
Oh, okay, wait. So do you think that it's like orderly that we have like earthquakes, for example?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that orderly? Why would God want that?
God wouldn't want that, obviously.
So then the cosmos are not designed.
The cosmos are designed.
So
how
if
it
they were
works.
designed, then why are they a way that God doesn't want them?
The way God doesn't want them. Everything God makes is beautiful. Even earthquakes, even thunderstorms, all the rain, it all has a purpose.
Yeah, so what's the purpose of earthquakes?
What's the purpose of this argument right now?
Because it's the problem of evil. It's just trying to show you the contradiction in your worldview. Because you made the claim that there's order and design in the cosmos. I'm pointing out to you a way that the cosmos are not orderly or designed.
Just like this conversation that we're having, right?
I'm not sure in what aspect.
Well, you're telling me this, right? I'm telling you this. How'd that work?
What the fuck?
What? What did that mean? It's not funny.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let me ratchet the arguments down.
Okay.
Do you think God allows pegging in heaven?
Probably not,
Why not?
because it's probably like a sin.
Oh, but why would that be a sin? Why wouldn't God want pegging?
Well, that's not how he designed us to be, obviously.
Well, that's not true because he put the G spot in the rectum for guys. So why would he do that if he didn't want that? That's quite literally exactly how he designed us. That's why it feels
G-spot.
incredible.
What's the G spot?
Oh no, big dog.
The G spot in the rectum?
Oh no, me when I've shit you say when you've like never made a motherfucker come.
What? Why would he put the G spot in the rectum? I'm pretty sure that's a personal preference.
So you think that people's G spots are in the rectums because they prefer it there?
Probably, or they just feel some type of.
Wait, so where do you? I seem to forget the point where I was like marking the boxes.
I thought it wasn't about personal preferences. So why
It's
would I
literally what
stop?
you just said. You said it's personal preference.
Yeah.
So our anatomy is personal preference.
No.
Okay, cool. So then our anatomy is not personal preference. So why would God put it there?
God didn't put it there. What?
So who designed our anatomy?
Obviously, God.
So I'm telling you a fact about our anatomy. Yeehaw! Thank you so much, Era. The God put a thing
What's it called?
in the rectum
What's it called?
that makes pegging feel incredible. Why would God do that?
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
That's you. This is like an easy fact that you can literally just Google.
Oh, you Googled it.
I'm telling you that you can Google it.
I can Google it. Let me
Yeah.
Google this. What? G spot. Makes.
Damn, bro's Googling it right now. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. Make sure you're dropping a follow as well if you never want to miss a debate in the future. Damn. I'm sure Guest is learning an awful lot, but we do have a tight schedule to keep to, so we'll move on to the next one. Keep on double tapping on that screen. Let's get all the way up to 50k likes. If everyone left 10 likes right now, we would already be there. What's up? How's it going, Al? Do you want to come back? How old are you? L? You gotta come back to the TikTok app. Okay, I accept your surrender. Folded like a chair, scrambled like an omelet, reformatted like a hard drive. What's up? How's it going?
Hey. Why do you think God?
You gotta be 18 or older. Sorry. If you're not 18 or older, don't request to join. It's that simple. Yeah, that person was like young, jeez.
Yo,
Hey, what's up? How old are you?
I'm an adult, so listen, I have a question
Whoa,
here.
that's not gonna be a good enough answer. How old are you?
I am 25, so
And what year
listen.
were you born?
2000 and something.
Well, that's gonna do it. I appreciate you coming on up here. You gotta be 18 or older to join. If you're not 18 or older, I'm not gonna talk to you. Only request to join if you are 18 or older. Unfortunately, 2000 something is one, not true, and two, not gonna be enough. Bio says Fort. That's crazy. Hey, what's up? How's it going? How old are you? You're muted. I don't know if you know that. Okay. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
What's up, bro?
You are not 18 or older. Wow, we are really bad at following directions. If you are in that guest request box, make sure that you are 18 or older. Not that you're not 18 or older, that you are 18 or older. What's up, Nicholas? How's it going? How old are you? We got a Brandon over here. Am I right? Ring-a-ding beasting. Let's fucking go. Damn, I'm a riot. What
God
the
is real.
How old are you?
20.
Yeah. So what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience? Okay, I accept your surrender. Folded like a chair, scrambled like an omelet, reformatted like a hard drive, get your ankles absolutely shattered, or you will never debate again. Hey, if I drop you for being underage and you're in my guest request box, I think I'm just gonna block you. Hey, what's up? Are you driving?
What's good? What's good?
Are you driving?
No.
There's like too much background noise. I do discriminate based on background noise. My apologies. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Patrick?
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, can you speak up a bit?
I said, how you doing?
You're pretty quiet. Chad, is he quiet for anybody else or is he fine?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. How old are you?
Yeah, you said President Tree. What?
Oh, okay, wait, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are quiet. Okay, that's good. Sorry. I do discriminate based on audio quality. Just for the sake of the audience. Yeah. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
God is real.
You are like fucking 13. If you're not 18 or older, don't request to join. I don't want to talk to you. No amount of joining and saying God isn't real in your like prepubescent voice is going to be convincing. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hi, how you doing?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Yeah. And what religion are you?
I am Haitian and Dominican mixed.
Religion, not race.
Oh, sorry, I am Christian, but it's by preference that I'm Christian.
Gotcha. But do you think that God is real?
That depends. What do you mean by God, actually?
Just like the motherfucker in the Bible, do you think he's real?
Because I feel like a lot of people don't understand the Bible the way it's supposed to be
But
understood.
do you like there's like in the Bible there's a character God. Do you think this character God exists in reality?
God is not a character per se, like a human character in the Bible. So I don't know if that's what you mean. God is not a
Does
human.
God exist in reality?
God is a spirit.
Yeah,
God is
does this spirit exist in reality?
He does. He does.
Gotcha. So what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
My strong. What do you mean by like an evidence? You're asking
Yeah,
for
like
evidence?
evidence or like an argument is just like a claim and then a reason to believe that claim. So if I said that, like, if I argued to you that Socrates is mortal because all men are mortal and Socrates is a man, for example.
So I forgot what that was called right now, but I understand what you mean. So because there's different definitions of who God is, and
We're
God is
using
everything.
your definition. Go for it.
So my definition of God is everything we do know and everything we don't know.
Gotcha. Wait, so is God like is God the Schmolocaust? Was that God?
Schmolocaust?
Yeah, the one done
Sorry.
by Schmadolf Schmittler.
I'm not familiar with that. No, I
The
don't know.
Holocaust done by Adolf Hitler. Was that God?
The Holocaust.
Yeah.
The Holocaust done by Adolf Hitler was, I mean, it wasn't God per se, but God willed it. He willed it. He allowed it.
And why would God do that?
No, I feel like you do a lot of condescending faces. I personally don't like debating with like.
You
that
just said
kind
that
of-
God willed the Holocaust. I think you say a lot of crazy shit. I don't know. I think I'm allowed to make like weird faces when you say that God willed the Holocaust.
I get that because evil does not exist in God's world.
Except for the times when he wills the Holocaust, of course.
Because you're human, you're immortal, so you don't understand the concept. So
Did
you
God
have to.
did God will Jeffrey Epstein to like grape all of those children?
He willed everything.
Gotcha.
He
So
based-
God did will that Jeffrey Epstein grapes all those children.
He willed.
Why would God will that?
But listen, right?
If God wills that, then God's a sick fuck.
I don't think he's the thing is that I feel like you overestimate how much you know of basically the whole universe and energy, right?
Well,
So-
I think that I can make like basic claims that like graping
you could
children
make-
is bad. So if God willed that all these kids get graped, then God's evil. That's a super evil thing to do.
It's evil in your book per se because God.
You disagree? That's not evil in your book?
I think it's evil by society's definition. Definitely, yeah.
But do you think from God's do you think God thinks that child grape is evil?
God? First of all, right? So let's go back to what because you just took me down a whole rabbit hole that basically if I try to like basically make it into a understandable concept, it's gonna seem like it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, well,
But-
you're making it sound like a terrible thing. Yeah.
No, I'm not
You
making.
said
I said
multiple
if I-
times explicitly that like
I said
God
God-
willed the Holocaust. God wills child grape.
because not just because he willed it, that doesn't mean I agree with it. You can disagree with God all you want, but
so you know better than God?
I don't know better. I can disagree with someone without knowing better than them. It's like if I say I disagree with you, that doesn't mean I know better than you. I might not be agreeable to the actions that you've done, but it might be for the greater good per se. Let me give you an example. If you say, "Hey, I'm gonna go to school to become a doctor," and I tell you, "Oh, I don't agree with it because of the fact that school is a very, let's say, it's very like people they control you with school and all of that. I don't agree with it." But if you think it's better for you and you want to go to school because you want to become a doctor, then that's perfectly fine. But that doesn't mean I know better than you. Now,
So if God wills something, is it good?
so if God wills something, is it good? I think God wills with a purpose, not with good and evil.
But I'm
God-
asking you, if God wills something, is it good?
It's with a purpose. It's not good or evil. So take out the good.
you'd say no, that God wills things which are
I'm
not good.
Well, stop saying things that I didn't say.
Well, because you're if it's not yes,
Listen,
then it's
because
no.
if I ask you, it's like two different things. It's like God's will is not good or evil. By basically like good or evil doesn't apply to God's will.
Is God's will
God's
just?
God's will, I feel like God's will at times are just and at times are unjust.
Gotcha. Then you would reject the Bible because it says that everything God does is
Oh, no,
just.
there's because the first of all, the Bible is a very contradicting piece of text.
W?
So are you talking to me? You said W?
Yeah, W? W concession? Like, are you a Christian or are you not a Christian?
I am, but that's what I said. I decided to. That's why I said I decided to identify as a Christian. But being a Christian, I don't feel like that aligns with the Bible. I feel like being a Christian, I feel like I adopted the moralities of Christianity. That doesn't necessarily relate it right back to the Bible per se.
What do you think a Christian is?
I think because Christians, I feel like Christians or the morals of Christianity. It's not the Bible. The Bible does, in some sense, have the rules to those morals that you want to follow, but it's like that's basically well.
Do you think it was moral when all those Christian priests like molested all those kids?
Those are people. Those are evil people. I feel like because I don't know if you're familiar with
But did God will the priests to do it?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but are you familiar with the Dostoevsky's book, The Idiot?
Not specifically. No, I haven't read it.
Okay, Dostoevsky's The Idiot is basically a modern day Jesus, which is basically he's basically a character that has zero resentment. He's sort of a optimistically naive sort of character, which basically that's who Jesus was in the Bible, right? So optimistically naive is like to a small scale. It's like, let me put it into a graspable concept, right?
And
so
you're saying that this is the ethics that you want to embody?
That I want to follow. So let me explain, right? So it's like if someone were to do evil to me, I feel like forgiving them instead of seeking revenge because of my own sake is a better way to act about it.
And why do you need to believe in God to adopt this moral system?
Because God is the one who God is the one who's stopping me from doing it. So let me give you an example that I heard from Andrew.
So if God didn't exist, would you go out and like rape and murder?
No. I feel like God does stop us from doing that because not all humans are good.
But if God didn't exist, if you found out tomorrow that God didn't exist, would you just go out and rape and murder?
Let me ask you a question. No, but your question is kind of a broad question, right? Because it puts me in a corner to where it's a yes or no question, but that question is very, very complicated to a fundamental sense. Let me talk for a second, right? So if I tell you, okay, this person, but there's two people, right? I heard this from Andrew Tate. I kind of forget how he said it, but he basically said, right? So there's two people, and one believes in God, one doesn't, and if let's say somebody does something evil to the person that believes in God, and he says, the only reason why I'm not murdering you right now is because of the fact that God, I believe in God, and God says killing someone is wrong. So basically the idea of God just saved that person's life. So if the idea of God just saved that person's life, to a very, very fundamental sense, God does exist. Because the idea of him just saved someone's life. But if I choose not to unalive somebody because I think Spider-Man's going to be upset by it, does that mean Spider-Man exists? I think Spider-Man is your God.
Yeah, wait, but no. So I'm just I think Spider-Man's going to break through the window and start beating me up if I unalive this person. Does that mean Spider-Man exists?
Then that's the person's God who just saved that person's life.
God, wait, so in that sense, you would say that Spider-Man does exist?
I would say Spider-Man is your God. Is the person who
Wait,
you
but would
fear.
Spider-Man
Hold on.
exist?
I would say that's the person who you. The idea of Spider-Man definitely exists because that's what just stopped you from murdering the person.
So you don't believe in God, you believe in the idea of God. Also, Tammy, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. W Tammy in the comments section.
I believe
appreciate that.
in the, just like I said at the beginning, I believe that God is a spirit that floats around, that stops people from doing bad things, and he also wills a lot of things into real life, basically. But I feel like that idea of God just saved that person. So basically, that would
Well,
be
I don't care.
who
I don't
you
care
would
about the
consider as God.
idea. So if there's people, for all the people who think that like the only thing that stops them from like graping and murdering is God, I say to these people, you should keep on believing in God. But for the rest of us who don't need this,
but that's basically,
we should say God's not real. That's
okay,
fake.
So what in some sense, what do you believe? What do you think that's stopping you from being just an outrage? Because there's a book also called Ordinary Men. I don't know if you've read it, but if just listen, because you tend to interrupt a lot. So just listen for a second, right? There's a book called.
You're gonna yap about a book. Wait, what question did you ask me? Just like which question did you just?
This is a debate about God.
Yeah,
So
but you asked me a question. You asked me a question about like what stops me from doing. Like,
hold on, because
like,
I'm about
raping
to.
and unaliving.
I'm getting.
Because I don't want to. Because I would feel really bad about that.
Jesus Christ. I'm getting to the question, right? So there's a book called Ordinary Men. Basically, it said because a lot of people believe in the idea of I'm a good person, and there's no way I could do evil. And I feel like if you put you in certain circumstances, I feel like you are very, very capable of doing evil. And if you are someone that says, okay, I am like psychologically, everyone is very able to do evil. You might not be able to do it. You might not be able to think you are able to do it because of the fact that you're sitting in the comfort of your own home, and you have food to eat. You don't have to go out and fucking fight people every day in order to earn your food, right? So
Ignore me. You can keep on going. Keep on going. Ignore me.
no, I don't think it's very respectful to be doing that while I'm just talking. It sort of lacks respect. So I'm not claiming defeat, but I do think if you're gonna make a claim of God isn't evil, I feel like you should be more respectful about it. So
I think if you're gonna come up to debate, you should yap less.
Sure. If debate is basically talking, so I'm not sure what yap less
No,
means. What do you
debate
want
is
me to
clashing with the arguments. It's like answering questions. You've been dodging. I've asked you several yes/no questions. I don't think you've said the words yes or no a single time.
You've asked me very biased questions, and I don't think that's how an argument makes.
A question isn't a proposition. It can't be biased.
You've made very, very biased claims. You've asked me, is God a yes or no questions are very, very biased.
Wait, which claim have I made that's biased? What claim have I made that you don't think I can defend?
Does God exist? I don't think you can defeat.
You think that's a biased question? Does God exist as a biased question? If it's a biased question, then why are you here?
Because if I said yes to that, let's pretend I said no to that question.
You should only be here if your answer is yes that God is real.
Well, I don't think. Well,
okay. Let's just keep it like so. Let's keep it so super simple. Is God loving? Does God love everyone?
Ask me the question. Does God exist again? I kind of want to.
No, I'm. That's not the question I'm asking you.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna yap. I'm gonna ask you.
No, I'm not. That's not. I'm not gonna ask you a question that you want me to ask you.
Yeah. Does God? Well, I'll answer it anyways. Yes. Then I think God exists.
Wait, and you think that this is okay? W debate strats answering the question that you weren't asked.
But you literally asked me the question at the beginning of the live. Now you don't want me to answer the question.
Keep going. Answer the question. Go for it. I mean, it's not like you're engaging with the things that I'm saying anyway. It's not like you're listening. So, go for it.
That's the question.
Yeah, you're
I'm
answering
so
a question. You want to answer a question I'm literally not even asking you. You
have
could just go
so
face your
much-
wall and answer this question.
I have so much patience for you, which is crazy. A lot of people wouldn't. Sometimes you could say, "My God, it's stopping me from just raging in this fucking life."
No, he's not, because it's not real. Wait, so
It is
the
not.
question
He is
that
real.
the question that I asked you was,
What was
is
it?
God
Sorry?
loving? Does God love
Yeah.
people?
Yeah, I think God. I don't think God. I don't think God knows what love. Not that He doesn't know what love is, but I don't think that's how God. Love doesn't exist in the realm of God.
Is God a mind?
God is not a mind.
God is not a mind.
No, He's not.
So
No,
then how
no,
could
sorry,
how could
not
something
he,
that's
but-
not a mind? Wait, is there anything supernatural about God?
Everything is supernatural about God. Do you know what? Are you familiar with voodoo? Let me ask you this, because a lot of people. Because let me get to this. Because I'm Haitian. I lived in Haiti for a while, and I've experienced voodoo firsthand. Do you believe in voodoo? Let me ask you this.
We're talking about God. I'm not talking about
well,
voodoo.
Listen, we're having an argument.
Wait,
God. Let me-
about God. Do you believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or
God-
the Quran? Which
God-
one do you believe in?
Let
Which
me ask
wait. Which holy book are you willing to defend?
Jesus, that's-
Because if
hold
you
on,
don't defend
hold
a
on,
holy book, I'm
listen.
not talking to you.
Listen
Because
to
this
me.
is like
Listen
exactly
to
like
me.
the spiritual woo-woo nonsense. I also don't
Yes.
allow for personal experiences, so that's
so
like the
is
second
it-
reason why
is-
we're not talking about voodoo.
Is this a thing where if you don't know something, you don't believe in it? Type.
No, this is a thing where as if there's no evidence for the
If
thing,
there's no,
then I
but
don't
there is
believe in it.
but there is evidence.
Yeah,
And
so
the thing is that
could you cite me your peer-reviewed study that says that voodoo is real?
there's a lot of studies out there. You can
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
go
just
even
say- wait, send me the
experience it
study. Let's
yourself.
hear it.
If you could go actually, well, obviously you putting me on the spot. I can't.
Yeah,
go get out
wait,
of my phone, get out of the live.
let's go Google Scholar, and then let's go voodoo is real. So we got critical. So first one's critical theory. We got imagined religion and popular culture. So a concession that it's fake. We got more critical theory. We got voodoo as a metaphor. We got history of voodoo. We got like critical theory voodoo. We have no scientific evidence. Let me just put like science in there.
You know, science can't explain things that are well. To put it in better terms, science can't explain magic. Basically, voodoo is unnatural things happening in this real world. A lot of people won't be able to understand.
Wait. So could you provide me? So I can't. Because I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because I can't seem to find your study. But you said that there are studies. So would you mind giving me a study that says that voodoo is real?
Right now, I can't give you a study because of the fact that I'm on my phone. I'm using my
Gotcha.
phone.
Do you want to take I don't know 60 seconds to go and find a study? If there's lots of studies, you should have no problem finding them.
60 seconds. Are
60
people willing
seconds.
to wait that long? Hold on. Give me a second.
Go for it.
I'll turn on my laptop. But the thing is that
3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30,
it takes
31,
me 30 seconds just
32,
to
33,
Google. Jesus.
34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52.
Okay, so if you go in the scholars of Harvard, sorry.
Yeah, let's see it. Yeah, what is it?
Studies in the religions of science. If you do go in their page, it says Haitian voodoo and voodoo imagined religion and popular cultures. And if you read that entire article, basically, it will basically disprove what you were saying about.
Yeah,
obviously,
wait. So
voodoo is not-
that's the Haitian voodoo and voodoo imagined religion and popular culture.
yeah. Read the text first.
Imagined religion.
Wait, listen.
Imagined religion.
Read it.
You think that this article titled Haitian voodoo and voodoo imagined religion and popular culture proves
Do
that
you mind-
voodoo is a real thing?
Do you mind reading it?
It's 28 pages. You
Well,
haven't
for
read
fuck's sake,
this.
if you're gonna argue on something and you don't want to fucking read,
Yeah, like,
then
that's fine. That's fine. Let's run it. Like,
Jesus
let's just read the
Well,
abstract.
now-
Voodoo is
now-
frequently
now-
invoked as a cause
now-
of Haiti's continued impoverishment. While scholarly arguments have been advanced for why this is untrue, voodoo is persistently plagued by a poor reputation. This is buttressed in part by the frequent appearance in popular culture of the imagined religion of voodoo. Voodoo and voodoo have entwined destinies, and voodoo will continue to suffer from ill reputation as long as voodoo remains an outlet for an expression of racist anxieties. This enduring appeal of voodoo is analyzed through its uses in touristic culture, film, television, and literature. Particular attention is given to the genre of horror movies in which voodoo's connections with violence against whites and hypersexuality are exploited to reduce both terror and arousal. This is not a scientific study. This is a piece of critical theory.
But
So I can like summarize the argument for this because I'm like very familiar with the specific brand of critical theory. Essentially, what it's going to say is that we have cast this as like the abnormal, and thus it becomes like this like pillar in pop culture wherein we like funnel our anxieties of like racism while also ascribing like aspect of like hypersexuality to the people of this culture. That's like more or less what this article is going to say. So that's not a proof that voodoo is real. It's like a critical analysis of the way society treats and considers voodoo.
society, you mean in the U.S. and stuff? Have you traveled outside of the United States
I
at all?
haven't, but that's not relevant.
That is very, very relevant. If you're gonna understand a lot of parts of the world and understand God itself, you should go to where even the idea of God started. I don't know why you would be arguing about God if you haven't even visited the place where the idea of God even started.
Yeah, because I'm just capable of evaluating things through philosophy. Fortunately, philosophy doesn't care about your like personal experiences and anecdotes.
It's funny you say that
if
because
something's
philosophy
true, it's going to be
itself
true
says God says it's
regardless.
It's funny. It's true. It's funny you say that because philosophy itself says God is true.
It certainly doesn't. Wait, then give the
certainly
philosophical argument. In fact, the majority of philosophers are atheists, so that's not the case.
Well, there's a lot of philosophers that are not. Well,
Yeah, but the
you're talking
majority
about-
of them are atheists. We can look at the proportions.
Well, there's a bigger proportion of them that is not atheists. Actually, a lot
I don't
of
think
them.
you understand what the word majority means.
No, it's not. It's not. It's the majority of them do believe in God and the idea of God. A lot of them actually.
Yeah, so 62% of philosophers are atheists.
Obviously, you would be familiar with stats or invented on the spot. So I don't think
no, this is like
because-
something that just got pulled up.
Yeah, well, they're basically made up. Stats are made up on the spot. Like,
Wait, you think that statistics are just made up on the spot?
yeah, a lot of statistics are actually made up on the spot.
Which percent?
What the fuck? I just literally told you statistics are made up on the spot. How the
Wait,
fuck would
prove
I
it.
know?
Wait, prove it.
Jesus Christ, man. Okay, fair enough. It's like, okay, fair enough. It's like, I can't prove that. Like, because there's no way to prove that.
Perfect. So you have no proof for this.
No. I'll admit I've lost the debate. I basically lost. So, listen.
Do. Imagine me just like folding up a flag and handing it to you. Well, I appreciate you coming on up here.
I appreciate for taking the.
Wow, what a wacky one. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran. Make sure if you want to support the stream, Venmo's allegedly-Ian, and the Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Let's get all the way up to 90K likes. If everyone left 20 likes right now, we'd already be there. So just tap that screen 20 times. What's up? How's it going? There's a bit of an echo. I'm actually not gonna. I discriminate against audio quality. This is known. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 49.
Pete, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. W Pete, W666 for debate record or debate record. I don't know. Debate record. I don't know. Infinity to zero. W Pete in the comment section. W666. W Satan. Hail Satan. I appreciate that. What religion are you?
I'm Christian.
Okay, so what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
I would say that the strongest argument for God in the natural perspective, material perspective, is creation itself.
And what about creation?
The fact that everything exists and that it is perceivable and that we can look at all of creation and the order that exists in creation has to suggest that there is intelligent design behind it. Chaos.
Do we see ultraviolet radiation?
Well, we can't see it, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Because you said that all of creation is perceivable, so you acknowledge that the claim you already said is wrong. That not all of creation, all of creation is perceivable, correct?
I would say that it's perceivable under the right circumstances.
So what are those circumstances? But it's not like plainly perceivable, and God isn't plainly perceivable
There's
either.
lots of things even in science that are not plainly perceivable, but they still exist.
Yeah, wait, so then you would walk back the claim that all of creation is perceivable, like dark matter isn't perceivable.
Again, there may be means of perceiving things, even with natural means that we don't understand yet.
Such as?
Well, I can't give you an answer on that because I don't know those. I'm just saying they lie in the realm of possibility. Just because you don't know something or you can't necessarily perceive something immediately doesn't mean that it's not possible.
Yeah, I totally agree that just because we can't perceive something doesn't mean that it's not possible. Unfortunately, the claim that you made, wait, hold on. The very first, sorry. The very first claim that you made was that all of creation is perceivable, but not all of creation is perceivable in your view, because we can't see things like dark matter, we can't see things like energy. There's tons of things that we can't see. So the original claim that you made is wrong, and if you want to amend the claim that like creation's so cool, but you want to like take out the part about it being perceivable.
I'll concede this point that that the elements of creation that are observable. Okay, I don't have a problem conceding that. I don't think that really undermines my point.
Yeah. So what's the evidence that this was created rather than have always existing?
Well, it depends on how you're defining evidence.
Just like a thing that makes you think that a claim is true.
The fact that I can perceive it and see the ordered design behind things that happen. I mean, there are obviously, even in the natural world, there are processes that happen that can't be explained just simply because of things like a Big Bang theory or chaos or things of that nature. I mean, to kind of put it in simplistic terms, and I know you're probably familiar with this argument, but anything that has order and design and engineering and even an ordered process, it automatically points to an intelligent mind.
There's going to be lots of problems with that, but I'm just going to like take issue with the claim that the universe was designed, because you need to defend that every aspect of the universe was designed. Otherwise, we would conclude that some of the universe is designed and some of it isn't, which means that there's no evidence that God is real, because this is just true under both of our views. So what's going to be the design behind kids getting cancer? What's the design there?
Well, I would say that
Yeehaw. Thank you so much, Era.
kids getting cancer. I mean, that's kind of that's not really relevant to the point that
You said
we're
that
talking about.
that there's a design behind everything. I'm wondering, like, what's the design behind kids with cancer? What's the design there? What was God's design vision with that one?
Well, I can't explain to you his
No answer.
design
Perfect.
because I'm not God. I don't know all of the thoughts of God.
So
I
if we don't
did,
know,
I could give you
if we don't
answer.
know that this is created, that this is designed, then why would we think that everything in the universe is designed?
Well, even if you go outside of the realm of spirituality and faith, you can see in scientific thought, you can see in engineering that things don't just randomly occur or happen. Buildings, computers, I mean, anything that we see, even art, philosophy, the thought that goes into, you mentioned philosophy, none of these things are just random occurrences that are the source of a materialistic worldview. All of these things have some kind of element of design behind them. Now, whether you're arguing whether or not we can prove every element of that, but I don't think you're missing the point. You don't need to prove that there's all of the mechanisms behind it for it to exist. I can look at a painting and see, I mean, the artist may be dead, they may be gone, but I can still see, I may not even understand their technique or, what they went about as far as formulating how it happened, but I can look at the painting and deduct even logically that there was some kind of intelligent design behind it.
Yeah. So, Gully, thank you so much for the $6 on Cash App. W6, Hales, W Gully in the comment section. I appreciate that, Gully. So the reason why this is going to be disanalogous with the universe is because we know where pieces of engineering come from. We know where paintings come from. We know where all of these things come from.
Well,
we haven't really
partly
seen
true.
God create a
That's
universe
partly true,
before,
because
so we have
can
no
even look
reason to think. But if what we're doing is appealing to the number of cases that we've seen of a thing, I've never seen a mind without a body. I've never seen a physical thing come from a non-physical thing. So if we're making these inductive arguments, I would just conclude that God doesn't exist on those bases or on that ground.
You would say, okay, let's back up. You said you've never heard of or known of a physical thing coming from a non-physical thing?
Yep.
Well, then how do you explain people's actions and the things they do? Because they are...
I'm a determinist.
Well, okay, let me just put it this way. Everything that happens in the material world in terms of human interaction comes and starts with a thought. Can you quantify a thought?
Absolutely, you can, yeah.
And you're going to say that you're going to reduce that down to a chemical process? You still can't quantify physically a thought.
I mean, it depends what you're asking. Like, you can just see what parts of the brain are lighting up with any given thought. The different thoughts correspond to different activations.
Yeah,
in the brain.
you're observing an outward. An outward measurement.
Yeah, in my view, that's all thoughts would be.
Biological, but my point is that the thought itself, the transcendent substance of what a thought is not measurable. It is not something that is physical. It is not something material. It is something that is transcendent.
It's something that's experienced, and experience is physical.
The substance of which things in the physical material world become manifested or they become materialized. So anything that you do...
Wait, hold on. Wait, don't pivot away. It's experienced. Experience is physical. It's just because, like, our eyes didn't evolve to see each other's thoughts by looking at a brain doesn't mean that thoughts aren't reducible to the brain.
Well,
what's your evidence that thoughts come from anywhere other than the brain? And also, if thoughts come from somewhere other than the brain, why would affecting the brain affect the thoughts?
Okay, so you say that again. I want to make sure.
Why would affecting the brain affect the thoughts? For example, if people get brain tumors at specific regions of their brains, then the type of thoughts that they get change.
Well, obviously, there's an interaction between a material world and a non-material world. I mean, from my perspective as a Christian, there is a duality in our existence that are in relationship to one another. So the immaterialistic world, the spiritual world, has a direct impact and correlation to the things that are manifest. But again, going back to
Wait. I'm not going to let you move past that claim. Prove it. Give me the scientific evidence for that one.
the proof is all around us. I mean,
Can I get a study that says as much?
I can provide you
That the spiritual realm affects the physical realm. That's a claim that's empirical. Can I get the proof for that?
Well,
Just like vaguely gesturing to like the trees isn't going to help you.
Well, I think your argument is a straw man argument. Honestly, I mean,
I haven't made an argument. I'm just asking questions.
You're making.
If you want an argument, I'll give you an argument. It seems like your argument got torn in half, and now you're saying that I'm like straw manning you somehow. But I've only asked you questions.
Okay, and I've answered your questions, but
questions aren't propositions. I can't be straw manning you.
Well, but you're not acknowledging. You're not explaining either. You're not explaining beyond any reasonable doubt that thoughts don't impact something that is transcendent and immaterial.
I have no evidence for this like immaterial thing. There's no evidence that an immaterial realm exists at all.
Okay, the proof is all around you and evident.
Gotcha. Look at the trees. Okay. Do you have any real proof though?
Well, not even that. Just look at the fact that you're online. You're able to host this show that you're doing. The fact that you're able to quantify your thoughts and have these arguments. I mean, your words, where do they come from? The words that you're speaking to me now, the argument that you're making, are you saying that is just the result of a chemical process? That your thoughts?
That's exactly what I'm saying. You got it.
Okay. Well, then you haven't answered my question. How do you quantify a thought? Because all you're saying, the only thing that you've said so far to me is that you can quantify. I've
already answered this, but I'll answer it again.
Brain matter, and you can measure activity.
Wait. Do you want an answer? I'm sorry. And do you want to answer the question, or was that like a rhetorical question? Do you want to say you haven't answered this question, but it was just a rhetorical question?
You've not answered my question.
I've answered it already, but I'll give you the answer one more time in case you didn't hear the answer the first time. It's okay. I also don't listen from time to time. It's totally fine. So the answer for the second time is just that it is quantifiable. Specifically, thoughts are going to reduce down to activation of different parts of the brain.
Right. You're giving the result. You're not quantifying
the result. The result is the experience. So we actually know this for a fact because the changes in the brain precede the experience itself, which means that the like activation of specific parts of the brain is not the result, but rather the cause.
Right. Purely in again, going back to my point earlier, there is a correlation between the material and the physical world that is in response to an immaterial substance.
Prove it.
Thought.
Prove it.
I don't. The proof is that things exist. The things.
Look at the trees again. Wait. So immaterial. So the immaterial realm. I just want to write this argument down so I make sure I'm tracking. So the immaterial realm exists. And it's interacting with the material realm because look around you.
So
is that the argument?
You're saying that you don't believe anything that exists.
Wait. Yes, that's a yes or no. Is that the argument that the immaterial realm exists and interacts with the physical realm because look around you? That's your argument.
That's in oversimplistic terms. Yes.
That's word for word what you said. You said look around. Those are your words. That's a direct quote from you.
Yeah, I said a lot more than that, but you're making an oversimplification of what I said.
When I asked you to prove it, you said look around. This is a direct quote of an interaction. I said prove it, and then you said look around. Aisha, thank you so much for the rock star. W Aisha in the comment section. Yeehaw! Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate it.
So again, you tell me what a thought consists of.
I've already told you like 2 times.
No, you've described a thought. You described the results of thoughts, but you have not explained to me what a thought consists of. What is a thought?
It's a thing that's experienced. It's like asking, like, what does blueness like consist of? It's just experiential.
Blueness is a descriptor. A thought is something that leads to a production in terms of action or things that are tangible. It is not a descriptor of something. And yes, it can involve experience, but experience is not thought. Those are two separate things.
No, but thoughts are experienced.
They are experienced, yes, but that still does not quantify what they consist of.
So they are produced by your brain,
Again,
causing you to have the experience of the thought via the activation of these specific areas. So first, these areas activate, and then after these areas activate, then you experience the thing that activated.
Sure. Again, you're talking about actions related to or subject to thoughts.
I'm not.
You're not.
That's
you're not
the
telling
crazy
me what
thing.
a
I'm
thought
not.
is. So you can see that you can't tell me what a thought consists of.
No, I've told you what a thought is like 3 times. Three times I've told you what a thought is.
What a thought.
I've already told you 3 times. You must have gotten hit in the head one too many times. Maybe lay off on the karate. I've told you this
bro.
3 times.
I'm trying to get you to answer one question, and you can't answer that.
I've answered it 3 times.
No, you have not answered.
Do you want me to answer it a 4th?
No, because you're not answering the question. I'm asking you to tell me what a thought consists of. What
do you?
is a
And maybe
thought?
I just don't understand the question. If you think I'm not answering it,
The only thing that you're saying.
When you say consist, what do you mean by that?
I mean, what is the elemental makeup
What's the elemental makeup
of a thought?
What's the elemental makeup of blue?
When I make a hamburger, it consists of beef. All right. When I make a sculpture, it consists of clay.
What does blue consist of?
Blue is a description. It's not a thought. That's an irrelevant question.
So is there an experience that's associated with seeing blue? What is the experience of blue made of?
Experiences, again, are not thoughts.
Experiences are just like something that's processed by the brain.
That may be, but an experience is still not the substance of a thought.
Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 for Brain Chemistry Forms Thoughts Explains Happy. W Grimlock in the comment section, W666, W Satan, Hail Satan. I appreciate that, Grimlock.
My point here is that everything that we do, everything that we say, is the result of an intangible, immaterial thing, which is known as a thought. Now, there may be biological
I disagree.
processes that are in relation to that, but they don't quantify what the substance of a thought is.
So that's just going to be empirically false insofar as we know that the activation of the brain happens prior to the actual having a thought, which means that any thought that exists is necessarily caused by a brain insofar as the neural activation of the brain comes before the thought.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. You're describing the physical process, right, that happens in the brain, but you're still not telling me what a thought consists of. Because thought must occur in the brain. And yes, I realize that there are physiological things that are intertwined with that, but it still, again, does not quantify what the substance of a thought consists of. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. You can't measure.
Thought doesn't have. I don't think thought has substance.
But it exists.
I don't think that there's like a chemical elemental like makeup of thought. I think that thought is like a thing that's experienced and it's produced by the brain. That's what I think thought is.
I mean, I understand your perspective and where you're coming from, but still, even if a thought is a result of or it partners with biological processes, it still doesn't tell me. For instance, how do I know you exist? The person that you are in your mind, your intellect, your ego, your personality, how do I know that is real? It's not measurable. It's not quantifiable. I can't see it. I can't taste it. I can't touch it. But in your mind, you exist.
Oh, yeah. So the way that I get around this is with a belief system called phenomenal conservatism, which is just that if something seems to be the case, then you have and you have no reason to think that it's not the case, then you have good, strong, on-face justification for thinking that that thing actually is the case. Now, it's possible you're wrong about that, but it's possible you're wrong doesn't take away the fact that you have strong justification that something is a specific way.
So you would say that everything in your life, every decision that you make, and everything you do is based on the fact that there's evidence for it.
Yeah.
So, okay, how do you know beyond any shadow of a doubt, or how can you give evidence that tomorrow you will be alive?
Just because of the enormous precedent.
Well, sure, there may be a historical precedent, but precedents can be changed.
Yeah. So it's possible that I won't be alive tomorrow. That's certainly possible. I would never make the claim that it's impossible for me to die tomorrow.
Right. So
but my
point
claim isn't that it's impossible for me to die tomorrow. It's that it's extremely unlikely that I will, because I've lived, I don't know, some like tens of thousands of days, and I woke up from all of them.
Sure, and I get all of that. My point is that for you, there's no evidence that you will be alive tomorrow. You can't measure.
There is.
No, there's not.
Because there's precedent. I have precedent.
Well,
I've woken up all the other days.
Precedence is an estimation. It's a guess at best.
Well, wait, but that's evidence. We can just look up a definition of evidence. So evidence is going to be the available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. So if we look at the available body of facts, you don't know if
it will be true. You can't say that.
But if we look at the available body of facts, well, I was alive yesterday and the day before that 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 and the day before that, going all the way back to my birth, which means that I have really strong precedent for saying that tomorrow I will be alive all the same.
Right. You have a probability or possibility, but you don't have evidence.
That's precedent. That's what precedent is.
Right. But
that's evidence.
My point, it can't be evidence, because evidence has to be factual. It has to be true.
No. Okay. Wait. So it does. And these are facts. So evidence don't necessarily need to prove that something definitely. Wait. Hold on, buddy.
Okay. Go ahead.
They don't necessarily 100% need to prove that something is a fact. All evidence needs to do is say you have some level of credence for believing in this thing. Insofar as I've been alive, I don't know, maybe like several thousand days, and I was alive for all of these days, that gives me a really high precedent and really strong evidence to point to the fact that I will be alive tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and I think that the word evidence here is misused, because evidence is undeniable, verifiable proof that something will be absolutely true.
Nobody uses the word evidence like this. Typically, when we talk about like an evidential problem of evil, for example, as opposed to a logical problem of evil, typically the way that you're using that is proof. Now, what's my proof that I'm going to be alive tomorrow? I don't think anybody has proof that they're going to be alive tomorrow, but I have lots of evidence.
Okay.
Dexter, thank you so much for the 5-cent subscriptions. Welcome to the community, everyone who got one. And W Dexter in the comments section, I appreciate the hell out of that.
So I would say, based on your point and your argument there is a conceivable argument that there is evidence based on that argument alone, that there's a possibility and there's evidence and precedence by things that are obviously unexplained and outside of the natural realm that exist. And I know you're going to ask me for examples. I don't have time to cite and research examples. I don't want you to count.
That's exactly what I'm going to ask you for. Prove it.
You can't prove. You cannot.
You said
prove
that there's evidence.
Immaterial.
Let's see the evidence.
Well, again, and I know you're going to say, you're going to belittle the point, but again, I go back to the
if you don't give evidence, certainly,
earlier, that thoughts are evidence of immaterialistic things that exist that can't be quantified by science, that are not observable, that are not measurable, but they exist because actions, things that people do, things that people create, are the result of a thought that can't be quantifiable. And a thought, going back to that, is not definable in terms of its substance based on biological actions.
Ethene, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Venmo. For Ethene, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Venmo. W Ethene, W666, W Satan, hail Satan. I appreciate that, Ethene.
But I do appreciate
section.
I do appreciate your arguments, and obviously you're well researched and well read. And kudos to you for, largely doing the research to evidence what it is that you stand for and what you believe, even though, obviously we're diametrically opposed in our belief systems.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Sure. That's one of the things. I mean, I have friends that are atheists, and we have lots of discussions. And I think one of the things that you have to be willing to at least open your mind and perceive the possibility that there is truth that lies beyond what we can perceive, what we can understand, what we can see, what we can quantify. If you want to be truly saying that, you're a truth seeker as an atheist. I mean, there are many atheists that will at least concede, right, the possibility, maybe not even the probability, but the possibility that there are things beyond the material world that can't be comprehended, understood. Because, like to your point earlier, we were saying there are certain things that even our senses, we can't trust. So I would say also, even in our reasoning, in our ability to understand, in the finiteness of our mind, there's a good possibility that there are things that are outside of your realm of understanding or perception that do exist, even though there's not an overwhelming physical evidence that suggests or says that. I think that to be truly intellectually honest, you have to admit that you don't know what you don't know.
Sure, but I do, okay, and I agree with this, and I think that you seem to have been, seems like you've done a lot more research than most theists as well. I get a lot of people who have literally, genuinely no idea what they're talking about, but it seems like you've read something, or you're repeating like something that you've heard by someone who's read, if you yourself have not done the reading. But yeah, I'm like willing to admit that there's things that I don't know. But one thing that I do know is that contradictions don't exist in physical reality, or even like metaphysical reality, and that the belief in God entails contradictions, which means that I would hold that God can't exist. So,
okay,
and
so
there's lots of things that I don't know, but those are two things that I do know.
Would you be willing to extrapolate on some of those things when you said there's contradictions that you struggle with, or that?
Sure. Yeah, I think. Okay. Do you think that God has free will?
Yeah, I think, well, speaking purely from a Christian perspective, obviously, I think that God has a free will, because I believe as a Christian, obviously, again, theologically speaking, that we are made in the image of God, and we are beings that have free will as well. So that would be, purely from a religious, not a scientific perspective, right?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Do you think that God can like change his mind and stuff?
I think that God is omniscient. And the meaning of omniscience is not knowledge that is, that's all counterfactual knowledge too. So true omniscience would include all counterfactual knowledge, not just perceived knowledge or evident knowledge or even foreknowledge. It would include all counterfactual knowledge.
Gotcha. Right? So if God's all-knowing, does he know what he's going to do in the future?
Yes, I would say that God has always known, not that he does know, that he has always known what is going to take place, right?
Gotcha. So then it seems like if God knows everything and he even knows what he's going to do in the future, then it's not possible for him to change his mind. Otherwise, he would be changing his knowledge. But of course, if God's timeless, then his knowledge can't change.
Well, and again, this goes back to if you're truly omniscient, why would you need to change your mind?
There's just multiple examples of God changing his mind in the Bible, unfortunately. Like there's one in Exodus where the words are literally, then God changed his mind.
Okay, so context plays a key here. in understanding that from at least a theological perspective, okay?
Yeah.
The context there when that is written down is not that God changed his mind, but the context and the writing there is meant to convey that God didn't change his mind, but rather he was trying to elicit an action from Moses, because you're speaking of a conversation between God and Moses. So God in his omniscience already knew what Moses would do, but he elicited an action that would cause Moses to do something, giving the appearance that he changed his mind when in fact he never did.
Yeah, okay. So that just puts you in like a difficult problem elsewhere, because that would just make God a liar. Because he says, boop, boop, boop.
Okay, so define how he would be a liar, because I'm interested to how that makes him a liar.
Yeah,
rather
because he
than
says,
someone who's trying to use a tactic to elicit something out of someone else. Because God didn't say he would do something and then not do it, right?
Yeah, he said, now let me alone. Oh, okay, wait, what is, oh yeah, it's the NRSV. Yeah, I'm chilling. So now let me alone so that my wrath may burn hot against them and I may consume them, and of you I will make a great nation. So he says, I'm going to do this thing, like, go away so I can do this thing.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say he was going to do it. He expressed a thought there, right? He expressed a particular view, right? But he didn't say he was going to do anything.
So what's the semantical content of him saying, now let me alone so that my wrath may burn hot against them and I may consume them, and of you I will make a great nation? So you're saying that he's not saying that he's going to do that, that he's not going to, he's not saying that he's going to destroy them. Then what's he saying?
He is saying something there. Now, again, context from a theological perspective, that God said what he said there, not because he was going to follow through on that, but the goal that God was trying to reach in that was to get Moses to take action and fulfill the thing which God had already asked him to do, right?
Oh, but why couldn't he just like ask Moses to do the thing? Why did he need to make the threat?
Well, let me ask you something. Have you ever had to be convinced to do something you didn't want to do by someone else?
Well, I mean, if Moses like worships God and sees God in front of him, I mean, if I knew God was real and God commanded me to do something, to the point in time when you're like literally Moses.
Okay, so
like you love God and will do anything he commands of you, and you just command, if God commands him like, hey, I'm gonna like, you know, I want you to go change their mind about this.
I see your point. So again, you have to understand that if God is truly omniscient and if God is so different than human beings, the things that were written down, right, have to be anthropomorphized to a degree that the human mind, which is finite, can understand it. So in other words, to put it in simplistic terms, God is speaking and relating to Moses in a way that is human so that he can understand God. Because if, from a theological perspective, again, if God is so much far beyond us, in his thinking and his ways of being and doing, then he would have to some degree, to interact with humans, make himself anthropomorphized to some degree so that humans could understand, interact, and be influenced by God. So that is the main context in what is actually being.
Wait. So why would it not have been possible for the Bible to have said God commanded Moses to go and convince the people to convince the Israelites not to worship false idols? What would have been different or lost if we did that one instead of God said, I'm gonna fucking kill them, and then Moses is like, please don't kill them, and then God's like, oh, fine, whatever.
Well, again, I think that's semantics. I mean, that is.
But yeah, because that's like because in this version of it, this is very confusing insofar as it lends to the argument. This translation that I'm looking at literally says, and the Lord changed his mind about the disaster that he planned to bring on his people. It literally says the Lord changed his mind.
Actually, it does. That's not a very accurate. It says that God repented.
This is the scholarly translation. This is the NRSV.
Sure.
This is like the best Bible.
Right, and so if you go back and you look into the Hebrew, again, there's a much broader context, and you have to look at. When you just pull one particular passage of scripture out and you examine a particular instance or interaction with human beings, but you're not looking at again, from theological perspective, if you're not looking at all of God and how that the Bible also talks about them being immutable, you can draw those conclusions. So there has
Yeah, wait.
to
So
be,
what's the Hebrew?
well, that I have to concede, I can't tell you right off the top of my head. I would have
Then
to.
how
go
do you know? How do you know that the Hebrew isn't like very directly like God changed his mind?
Well, because in the Hebrew language, the word for repent is used, and again, sometimes there are things from the Hebrew language that don't necessarily translate word for word, but they're more thought for thought, right? So you're taking into account what is the sentiment that is trying to be communicated rather than specific verbiage.
So repent means feel or express sincere regret or remorse about one's wrongdoing or sin.
That is one Christian interpretation, but the from the Jewish perspective, the word repent actually just means to turn away from or to turn towards God.
So, okay, wait. I'm gonna.
Or to
I think
change your
Justin.
mind. It
probably-
actually means to change, to change direction, to change your thought.
Yeah, I mean, you're halfway there. The Hebrew word nakam just means to make a change in either thought or direction.
Yes, thank you.
Most typically, it means to change one's mind. It's the changing of the mind that changes the direction. So when it says that God changed his mind, it literally means he changed his mind.
Well, and again, I think you would have to hermeneutically examine that against other passages of scriptures and many other teachings on the attributes of God that are immutable. So again, my point.
Yeah, but
I
we're
would
just
bring
talking
up
about
is,
what the
is
words
that-
actually mean. So, like, we have guys with many years and PhDs in the Hebrew language. So, like, my Hebrew professors literally spoke Hebrew from the time they were teenagers and have nothing but educations in translating these languages. I think it would be wise to give them the benefit of the doubt that the people with PhDs in this field of study know a little bit more than the guy that randomly looked at a Strong's Concordance once.
Oh yeah, I don't have a problem conceding that point at all.
Right. So there's no reason why we would want to change the meaning of this word unless somehow you've got superior knowledge to the people that translated this. And this is not a confusing word. Sometimes there are words in Hebrew that are a little bit vague, but we know exactly what this one means.
So how would you reconcile that to the immutability of God and from a theological perspective? See, the way that I would view that in context is that, again, God doesn't think or act or rationalize with, human.
But see, what you're doing is you're applying your understanding to the text. You're not allowing the text to speak for itself. You're saying, this is my view of God, therefore I'm going to force it onto the text.
No. I can see. I didn't eisegete on it. I give the definition of the word. I exegeted the word correctly.
That's not how translating works. You don't translate your understanding of God or what you want him to be into the text.
Sure, I understand eisegesis and exegesis. That's not what I did. I actually gave the same definition of the word as you did. But again, when you apply hermeneutics to that, you also have to take, at least from a theological perspective, you have to take into account the other things that are taught about God, which tells us that God is omniscient. So if God is truly omniscient,
the Bible flatly tells you that there are things he doesn't know. Genesis chapter 18, he doesn't know what's happening in Sodom. He has to go down. He says, then I will know. In Genesis 22, he doesn't know if Abraham is going to be faithful. When Abraham finally carries through with it, he says, now I know that you will do this thing. Later on in Deuteronomy 13:3, he says that he must send a false prophet to test his people so he can know what's in their heart. Over and over again, the Bible just tells you there are things he doesn't know.
Well, I guess I can concede that that's what the text says, but is that for our benefit, or is that actually the truth about God? So the question that I would ask, because you can't have God on one hand not knowing something and being truly omniscient.
Right, but why are you trying to force omniscience into it?
Well, the point that I made before, if you weren't in the conversation or you didn't hear, is that if God is truly omniscient, there wouldn't be any need for him to change his mind because he knows everything. And the Bible does give indications that God knows the end from the beginning. I mean, there are things that that also would counter that point, that speaks to the fact that God is eternal in his mind and knows all things, right?
Right, so what you're suggesting is that because elsewhere in the Bible, which there is one passage, you didn't quote it yet, but there is one passage that claims that God knows all things, but all you're doing is demonstrating that, again, the Bible is contradictory and inconsistent, because you can't take a contradiction and say, well, I'm going to make this contradiction go away just because I'm going to take the verse that I do like and superimpose it and change the meaning of the verse I don't like. So when a contradiction is in the text, you don't just get to wish it away by changing the meaning of words.
I don't think it changed the meaning of the word, but...
So did God change his mind or no?
Well, I personally think that there's, again, biblical evidence, and the context is suggesting that God is communicating in a way that humans can understand, not that God actually changes his mind.
When the text says that God changes his mind, we have no reason to believe that the text means what it says. Because if that's the case, then we don't have reason to trust any of the text. If the text just doesn't mean what it actually says, then why would we trust any of it?
It's a good point. I'll concede that. Yeah, okay. I don't have an answer for you right now. Something to research and look into a little deeper.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. All right, I gotta get back to work, but
yeah, appreciate it, Justin.
guys.
Yeah. Yep. Do you have anything else? Otherwise, I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, no, I did too. That's all I have, but I appreciate the opportunity to come on and chat with you and do a little intellectual sparring.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Have a great day, my friend.
Yep, you as well. All right, bye-bye. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all those good things. Let's get all the way up to 100K likes. We're almost there. If you want to support the stream, the Venmo's allegedly-Ian, and the Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Make sure you're dropping a follow so you never miss a live in the future. Whoa, good job. Thank you so much, Jenny. Appreciate that. What's up? Is it Jesus is King or Jesus is Truth? God, you got that little misdirect there. What's up, Jesus is Truth? How old are you? I accept your surrender, Jesus is Truth. Folded like a chair, scrambled like an omelet, reformatted like a hard drive, get your ankles absolutely shattered, you will never debate again. Aisha, thank you so much. Appreciate that. What's up, Isaiah?
What's up?
Hey, how old are you?
24, 25.
Which one?
I'm 25, man.
And what religion are you?
I'm Christian.
Okay, so what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
First of all, how can you eliminate my evidence right away if it is personal experience?
It's just not the evidence I'm looking for. You could tell me.
It doesn't matter what evidence you're looking for. If I have evidence, it's evidence, right?
Oh, I don't want just any evidence. I want evidence that I can engage with.
No, it doesn't matter about if it's any evidence.
I want like a philosophical argument, historical evidence, just something that's verifiable.
Sure. So one of your favorite things that you've been saying is looking at the trees, right?
I think, I mean, not really. No, that's not really my argument.
That's what you've been saying. Like when we say, okay, look at creation, you say, oh, look at the trees as a joke, right?
Yeah, true.
So why is it not evidence for you that trees give off oxygen, we give carbon dioxide, and the way that the world works in order to function for itself is not an idea of creation?
Yeah, because we evolved with these trees, that the trees evolved to accommodate us as we were evolving to exist within the trees.
How do you know that?
That's just going to be like historically true based off of the fossil evidence and the fossil record.
What evidence? What evidence do you have for that?
Do you want like the specific evidence of like the evolution of lungs and corresponding to things like plants?
Yes, and the trees and all that. I want that. And also, since we're talking about the idea of evolution, while you're on it, why is it that God couldn't create us to be able to evolve?
Because that would make God like super evil, right? So if God is
Why?
yeah,
Why would they be
absolutely.
evil?
Yeah, because
would they be
evolution, one of the driving mechanisms of evolution is natural selection. So natural selection is a brutal process whereby the things that are weak are slaughtered by the things that are strong. That's not loving. It would be much more loving to what it says in the Bible. If God says like abracadabra and brings everything into existence, that would be much more loving than having things come about via like just an unimaginable level of grotesque killing. Wait, are you driving?
Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm on my phone thing.
Oh, wait, you can't be driving. Sorry, it's against TikTok TOS. I apologize. Oh, but the study, if you're interested in it, is lung development orchestrating the generation and regeneration of a complex organ. What's up? How's it going, Gen X?
Oh, there's a bunch of echoing. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, how old are you?
Is it
how old are
over
you?
21?
Yeah, and what religion are you?
Oh, well, I would say maybe like a culturist Christian.
What does that mean?
I'll come back. It's echoing for some reason.
Oh, okay. Well, appreciate coming on up. Make sure you're just double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, all those good things. What's up? How's it going, George?
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 20.
And what religion?
I'm not sure, but can I ask you some questions?
Sure, go for it.
I've seen your live quite a few times on my For You page. And I just want to know, what is your point of
that God's not real, yeah.
What?
My point is that God's not real.
Yeah, I understand, but what is your point of view of the start of the universe?
I think the universe has always existed.
Always? You don't believe in the Big Bang?
I do believe in the Big Bang. I just think there was more universe before the Big Bang.
Okay. Is there evidence for that, or
yeah, there's evidence.
Just so your reasoning?
Specifically because the amount of dark energy and the universe is weakening over time, which means that there's going to be a big crunch back to the state that it was before the Big Bang, which means that we're just going to go in cycles of big bounce and big crunch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just one other question. You said a few minutes back, Hail Satan?
Yeah.
Yeah, just asking, why would you say that?
Oh, it's funny.
It's funny, okay. But you don't believe in God, so I think you don't believe in Satan, right?
Don't believe in Satan.
Okay. You just say it to mock or to disrespect the Christians.
You said R. We got a little slip there. You don't want to defend Christianity, do you? You just want to critique my stream without actually having to defend anything yourself. Gotcha.
No, yeah, I saw you live a couple of times. I'm just not sure on what point I'm standing, but yeah, just have questions I'm open to discuss.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's a little humorous, like little waka waka.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just not what you're hoping for. That's okay.
Okay. Well, appreciate it.
Have a nice day.
Yep. You as well. All right. Bye bye.
There he is.
What's up? How's it going?
Doing well. Oh man, there he is.
Whoa, Grimlock! Thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. W Grimlock, W666, W Satan, Hail Satan. Appreciate it. Huge W Grimlock in the comment section.
All right. So, do you have a rational justification for the non-existence of God?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a great one for you. So you're pro-life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the rational justification is going to be that if God did exist, he would just hate children. He would despise kids. which means that he can't be all loving. Now, the way I come to this conclusion is just based on the simple fact that 70% of pregnancies end in miscarriages, which means that God is responsible. Insofar as God designed our anatomy, and he could have designed it in a way that makes miscarriage impossible, God designed our anatomy in a way that allows for miscarriage, which means that God would be responsible for the death of, I don't know, say 400 billion children.
Okay, so how does that mean God doesn't exist?
Yeah, because he hates kids. Why would God kill 400 billion kids?
So you're just describing your own like subjective moral intuitions. You're not giving me a rational justification for the non-existence of God. You're just giving me your own subjective moral intuitions here.
No, there's like some morals that are just going to be like universally intuitive. For example, like the death of 400 billion babies is bad. Like that's almost like comically trivial.
So what is your like absolute universal standard of good to say anything?
It can just be like an internal critique.
Yeah. So it wouldn't actually be an internal critique because in our worldview, God's
of course.
So in our worldview, God is the standard of good. So you literally, so you can't say that God did something bad. That would just be a contradiction. So you can't provide an internal.
So you would say that the death of these 400 billion babies was good. That killing 400 billion babies is rad, actually.
Yeah. So it is the case that God does everything for his own purposes. It's not up for us to.
Would you mind just saying the sentence that the death of 400 billion babies is good?
Yeah, so in terms of, it depends on what you mean when you say good. If you're saying that God, all things considered, is going to actually, use that for his purposes, then yeah, it's good. Everything that happens is good insofar as that God actually uses it for his own purposes. So if you say otherwise,
400 billion dead babies is good. That's crazy. That's psychotic.
So again, how does this prove that God doesn't exist though? Because
you have to bite like crazy bullets. Like 400 billion dead babies is good. Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. W Grimlock, W666, W Satan, Hail Satan. I appreciate it, Grimlock. And Grimlock, thank you so much for all of it. Like you've been sending so many donations, and I appreciate the hell out of you. Let's get a big W, Grimlock.
So this is really your argument, like for real? So
yeah, that's the argument. Yeah, 400 billion dead babies is bad, actually. Yeah, that is the argument.
So
that's a really good argument too.
Do you accept that if you don't affirm the single unifying principle by which all propositions are derived, do you accept? It's not bro. Your argument is weak, bro. It's not a pivot. Your argument doesn't prove God.
So we were talking about the problem of evil. Now you're pivoting to where do you get your logic from? It's a pivot.
All your argument is just nan boo boo. Ian doesn't like how God's sovereign will is cashed out. That doesn't
true. 400 billion dead babies is bad. Correct.
Prove the non-existence of God. It just proves that you have your own subjective moral intuitions that you can't even hold to a standard of absolute good under your worldview. So
do you think killing 400 babies, is it possible to love babies and also kill 400 billion of them?
Yeah, so everything flows out of God's love. The thing is, it's not up to us to like judge God's actions in a sort of like moral sense, because he is a standard of good. All we can do is we have to understand that because God is a standard of good, everything that happens, he's using for his greater purposes. But it's not up to us to actually judge that. That's all I was saying. Like what moral standard are you even holding to? And if you're saying
it's an internal critique, I'm just wondering if God if God raped a child in front of you, would it be good?
Yeah, so that guy wouldn't do it. He couldn't.
Wait. But if that's the standard of goodness, how do you know he wouldn't do that?
Yeah, because that goes against his nature. So
how does that go against his nature? Where does he get his nature from?
Yeah, his nature is, he doesn't get his nature from anywhere. His nature is good. So
yeah, and where does that come from?
It doesn't come from anywhere. His nature has always existed.
Gotcha. So if it was in God's nature to grape children, would that make graping children good?
But you're saying if it was in his nature, that's
it's hypothetical. Just engage with it. Yeah.
Yeah, but the hypothetical is just illogical. The hypothetical is
it's a question. Questions aren't propositions. They can't be illogical. Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Venmo or on Cash App. W Grimlock, W666, W Satan, Hail Satan. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So the whole thing is that question in itself is a contradictory question. So questions can be illogical if they're
what's the contradiction?
Yeah, the contradiction is saying that God can do something evil.
Well, but I'm asking because in this case it would be in God's nature to grape children. So I'm just asking you, if it was in God's nature to grape children, would that mean graping children is good?
But that's what I'm saying. It's a illogical hypothetical because God literally can't do anything evil. So you're saying if God could do something evil, then would he do it? What I'm saying is like he literally can't do anything evil.
Well, I'm not, so you're saying that he can't do evil things because his nature, but I'm asking you if his nature was different. Why is it not possible for his nature to be different? Why is it necessarily true that this specific good is instantiated in your worldview? Why could it not be a different way?
Yeah, it couldn't be a different way because again, that what we define evil is a privation of good. So it can't be the case that God is a privation of himself.
Yeah, but it could just goodness could be different. Goodness could just include like the graping of children in your worldview, and then you would just have to say that it's good.
No, goodness couldn't actually include that.
Why couldn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Yeah, because again, when we say that God is good, we're referring to his essence and his nature, and his nature is going to be indicative of his moral law. So God's law, which is the commandments or what he tells his creatures to do, right, is going to actually flow from his nature. So to say that God would contradict himself would just be fundamentally incoherent.
But I'm just asking, could his nature be different? Because if his nature is different, then there's no contradiction.
No, his nature couldn't be because his nature is going to be necessary.
Why could his nature not be different?
Because
what's the argument for that?
Yeah, so we hold to divine simplicity. So because his essence is necessary, that means everything that God is, he has. So
why is his essence necessary?
Yeah, so there's no possible world in which God doesn't exist.
You're just restating the conclusion over and over again. Why is goodness necessarily a part of God's essence?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain. Yeah, so when we talk about essence and nature, and you asking me if the essence is going to be necessary, the essence is going to be necessary, which means the nature is necessary. The reason why the essence is necessary because in all possible worlds, you're going to need a single unifying principle, which is God. So God's goodness is going to be identical to his essence.
Why is goodness a part of the unifying principle?
Yeah, goodness is a part of unifying principle because it has to do with his essence, and because his essence is.
You're just saying the same thing. Do people actually fall for this? You're just saying your conclusion a bunch of times over and over again. I'm asking you, why is it not possible for his essence to be different? And you're just telling me, well, that's just a part of his essence. Couldn't it be different? You're just saying your conclusion over and over again.
No, I'm actually not. I think that you're just.
Well, can I get premise one?
Yeah, I think you're just incoherent.
Yeah, let's get premise one for the argument if you're not just saying the same thing over and over again. What's premise one?
Yeah, so I can try to format it in premises. I didn't know we were doing some sort of premise-based argumentation. So you're just asking me to state how the essence is good or how the essence is necessary?
Yeah, why is goodness a part of God's necessary essence? Why is this specific goodness a part of God's necessary essence?
When you say this specific goodness, are you just referring to his law or what do you?
Yeah, because his specific goodness in your mind precludes the possibility of graping children as being a good thing. So there's lots of other things, presumably like not believing in him would be a bad thing, or no, that probably more corresponds to the law, but I don't know. Is there anything else that?
It seems like you're kind of conflict. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's fine. We can just do graping children because it's topical. Graping children is topical. So
yeah. So it seems like you're kind of conflating.
Insofar as that's a part of his essence, I'm just asking you, why is it necessarily the case that in all possible worlds this would be a part of God's essence?
Yeah, because it's who God is. So it's like
giving the conclusion again. That's the conclusion. I'm asking for the reason why.
Yeah, that's like asking me where did God come from, and I say, well, he's always existed. And you say, how has he always existed? And I say, it just is the case that he's always existed. That's as far as the question.
Well, that's not the case though.
That's as far as the response can go.
That's not the case. That's definitely not the case. So we can think about these different possible worlds insofar. For example, I think the universe just stretches back infinitely. Now, for me personally, I could still imagine if the universe didn't stretch back infinitely and instead just didn't exist at all, or maybe if it came from a singularity, just poofed into existence randomly. I can imagine these things as happening, which means we're also capable of imagining a world in which in which it was a part of God's essence to grape children. And then I'm just asking you, in this possible world, would it be the case that graping children is good?
Yeah. So again, we don't really believe in possible worlds. So that's again where you're like, if you're providing an internal critique, then you're gonna have to actually understand like the position that you're trying to critique. We don't believe in possible worlds. We believe that it is the case that God's essence is necessary, and then from that essence, His nature is also going to be his nature is going to be identical to His essence, and his nature is good. His nature is love. His essence is love. All these things are going to correspond together. So when you say, is it a possible world in which God could actually grape someone? Well, that's not loving. So that would go against His nature.
Yeah, wait, but could there be a world? Wait, but I'm just looking for the argument. Why could this not be a part of His essence?
Can I finish my?
Well, wait, because you're just yapping. So I'm just wondering, what's the argument for why this couldn't? But why couldn't this be a part of His essence? I'm just looking for premise one.
Yeah. So premise one, love does not include the graping of people. And so then premise two, God is love, therefore it wouldn't include that. It's just a really simple argument.
Gotcha. Wait, and why is it true in all possible worlds that that's the case? Insofar as God's the standard and God's nature could just be like different, why could God's nature not be different to include this in love?
His essence is necessary, which means His nature.
That's the conclusion. You're still trying to prove that.
Yeah, so I can get okay. So you don't. Okay,
you're just like so you're going in circles. You're just restating your conclusion, and then when I push you harder, all you do is just like restate your conclusion. You just say, well, that's His essence, and I ask you, well, why is that the case? And you say, well, that's His essence, and I ask you, okay, but why? And you say, well, that's His essence.
Yeah. So if you would just let me speak. Yeah. So you're asking like two different things. So the first question you're saying, give me you said, why can't we imagine a possible world in which God's nature, it is the case that God, graping a human being would be good or would be according to His nature. And when I'm explaining is the reason why that is not possible is because God's nature is love necessarily. And then you ask me, okay, well then why is His nature love necessarily? And I say, because the essence is necessary. And then you say, well, why is the essence necessary? So that's going to be all.
So the question is like, why is it not possible for, if God's just going to be the standard of love as well, why is it not possible for His essence to just include in the loving section of it, like graping of children?
Because that's not what love is. That's just going to be.
Oh, and is that something that God decided, or are you just appealing to the way God's nature is, the very thing that you're trying to prove? You either need to appeal to an outside standard of these things. It's just like the classic Euthyphro dilemma. You either need to appeal to an outside standard, in which case God is not necessary for any form of objective morality, or you need to say like, well, that's just what God decided. There really is no way out of this. So I'm just and we can go back as far as you want. So I'm just asking, if it was in God's nature and in terms of Him being loving to do this, would that mean that it's all good?
Yeah, so I think you're like scoring points here by saying there's no way out of it. If you would just shut your mouth for 5 seconds and let me like explain, and then you would actually, you might
go for it. You're just gonna restate the conclusion, but go for it.
Yeah, so I'm actually not restating the conclusion. So I'll go all the way back and break it down. First things first, you propose some sort of like contradictory hypothetical, which I fundamentally destroyed by showing you how these things would contradict what love actually is. And then I said, well, because it's actually going to be necessary. And then you said,
why couldn't love be different?
And then so then you're interrupting me again.
Yeah, wait, because I'm asking you a question to elucidate the view, because you made a presupposition.
This is what Ian does.
We got a grandstanding Gary over here. Q-top. We got a blown out Barry. So now it's just grandstand o'clock. This is what Q-top does, by the way. Unironic projection.
And he just
classic bout of Q-top projection.
And he just keeps asking me these illogical questions.
Let's get some baby bottles in chat. Couldn't address the argument, so instead he's addressing the chat.
Yeah, so I'll say it for you again. Hopefully your like 3-pound brain can.
Wait, so I'm just asking, the question is, why couldn't love be different?
Because love is necessary.
Why is it necessary?
Because the essence is necessary.
Why is the essence necessary?
Because it's fundamental to ground all intelligibility and all causal principles.
And why is that the case?
Yeah, so unless you're going to have a single unifying principle by which all propositions are derived.
Shifting.
You just asked me why.
You're shifting the burden. I'm asking you, why is it the case that God grounds everything? Why is that the case?
That's literally what I'm doing, because God is
shifting the burden.
I'm not shifting the burden. You're asking me a question. I'm trying to answer. You keep saying shifting the burden. What? Like,
yeah, because that's how tag works. It's because like, well, God's essential for everything. Because where do you get everything from if not God?
I'm explaining to you. I'm literally explaining to you why God is necessary. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah, so the laws of logic, the law of identity, the law of excluded mental, and the law of non-contradiction, these three laws exist in all possible worlds. So you can't have any possible world in which the law of identity is false. So the whole thing is that in order to actually sustain or ground these laws, intelligibility, the laws of logic, the uniformity of nature, the causal principle, it's going to be the case that you're going to need a single unifying principle that's independent, and that's going to be God, to actually ground these sort of transcendental concepts. So when we say that the essence is going to be necessary, that's going to be derivative because God exists by necessity in all possible worlds.
Yeah. So, and why could it not be the case that something else grounds these concepts?
Yeah, because it's going to have to be something that meets the conditions of an independent and necessary thing. So
And
God,
why couldn't that exist?
yeah, so you could just define whatever you're describing. That's what we describe as God. So when we say that God grounds these things, we're saying that the properties by which we define God as, when we say the word God, here we are describing these sort of properties, right? These sort of metaphysical properties that grounds these things. Now you can say, well, I don't call it God, I call it Google Gop. And I say, okay, Ian, well, you can call it Google Gop, right? But when I say God, I'm specifically going to be denoting this thing that has this sort of property set that grounds these different transcendental concepts.
Okay, so I have a question for you. If these concepts are indeed universal and transcendental, let's say I have 500 pieces of straw in a pile, and I say this is a heap. Is that a true statement or a false statement?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I have 500 pieces of straw in this like pile of straw, and I say this is a heap. Is that a true statement or a false statement?
Well, it depends on what you define as a heap. I don't know.
Oh, gotcha. Wait. So it's gonna come down. So just like a collection, sufficiently large collection of things.
Okay, well then, yeah, you could call it that.
Okay. So it's just gonna be a disorderly collection of objects haphazardly placed on, or a large amount of. That's what that's what the definition is going to be, a large amount of.
Yeah.
So we have 500 straws here. So it would be true that we have these that this is a heap. So let's start taking them away. Let's say we have 400 pieces of straw. Is this a heap?
Yeah, by that definition.
Yeah. Let's say that we have 300 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Yeah, by the definition.
Let's say we have 200 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Yeah, by that definition.
Let's say we have 100 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Yeah, by the definition.
Let's say we have 50 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
I don't know where you're going with this, but yeah, by the definition.
Let's say that we have 25 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Yeah, by definition.
Yeah, let's say that we have 12 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Well, can you get to your point?
Yeah. So 12 is a heap. Let's say we have 6 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Bro, just get to your point.
Yeah. We're 6 away from getting there. Let's say we have 6 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Yeah.
Let's say we have 3 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Yep.
Let's say we have 2 pieces of straw. Is that a heap?
Yep.
Let's say we have 1 piece of straw. Is that a heap?
Nope.
No. So 2 pieces of straw is a large number.
Yeah. So by the definition, you just said it was like a compilator, like a.
So wait, the definition I gave is a large number of.
Oh, a large. Oh, you're saying it's a large would just be subjective. That would just be subject. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, is this proposition? So the proposition is this is a large collection of straw. So is that a true or false statement?
Yeah. So in philosophy, we would say that this would actually be some sort of like contingent proposition, because the proposition in itself wouldn't be actually uniformly justified, because the proposition wouldn't be derived from some sort of like necessary or objective standard, because you're using syntax like large. Well, we can all define large as a different notion.
The question was, is it true or false?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I couldn't. It wouldn't be truth apt because.
Oh God! Wait. So not all propositions are going to be true or false. So you reject the law of excluded middle?
No, so we would say that, yeah. So when you say the word proposition, it's just going to be like how you're actually using that word. So if you're talking about like justified propositions, these are going to be propositions that literally have like some sort of like truth value, because these propositions are going to be like derivative of some sort of like universal standard. But when you talk about like contingent propositions, by which the proposition is true or false dependent upon the subject, like if you say like Q-Top likes apples. Well, that proposition is not going to be some sort of justified proposition, because that proposition is going to be contingent upon like my stance, because I could like apples one day, but I could not like apples another day. So we wouldn't necessarily say that proposition in itself.
Yeah, but regardless of stance, some people are going to agree, like most people would agree that 2 pieces of straw is not a heap of straw. but like 500 pieces of straw is a heap of straw.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
So insofar as this is like universally agreed on that 2 is not a large number, but perhaps 500 is, then it seems like we need to appeal to something else. So that's just the thesis that, in fact, there's going to be other logics that are going to be just as true as the one that you're positing, that there actually aren't, that there are like very common counterexamples to all of these laws of logic. For example, the liar's paradox disproves the law of non-contradiction. So I'll just ask you, so let's say that Mary says.
Wait one second. So are you pivoting from the first example? Because I didn't really.
No. This is a demonstration about how fuzzy logic can be instantiated. That there's some things that are going to be true on the basis of vagueness. That when we have a vague term like heap or pile, that we can invoke something like fuzzy logic, which rejects the law of not non-contradiction. It rejects the law of excluded middle and instead opts for like a range of values between 0 and 1. And from these values, it can better deal with vagueness than the classical laws of logic, which need to exclude these cases by calling them non-propositional, despite the fact that there's some logics which can handle these cases. So we're just gonna run back into the point here that there's like tons of counterexamples to this, like the liar's paradox, for example.
I've heard it. Yeah. So the whole thing with that's always kind of give me like the distinction, because all those paradoxes is going to be kind of predicated around these sort of like contingent or these sort of contingent.
What's the contingency?
Yeah, the contingency is that the proposition in itself is not justified. So the proposition in itself is the actual truth value of the proposition is dependent upon some sort of subject, right? That is deeming this proposition, and it's going to be kind of indicative of their own sort of subjective internal dispositions by which.
Is it true that this statement is this statement?
Can I just finish my thought real quick, bro? I appreciate it.
Yeah, chill.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate it. So yeah. It would just simply be the case that these propositions are going to be kind of dependent upon some sort of like internal predisposition of the subject. It wouldn't be some sort of justified proposition that's going to be grounded by the necessity of the unifying principle. That's why I said, in order for you to speak meaningfully or intelligibly about the world, everything that you say would have to be derivative of this unifying principle. And because you reject that, that's
maybe if you keep on stringing together more philosophy words that you have no idea about, nobody will notice that you're not answering or engaging with the objection.
So thank you for just gaslighting me. What word do I not know?
Oh, I'm just saying that you're like overcomplicated.
No.
I never said that you don't know the word. I'm saying that you're like stringing together a bunch of like overcomplications of your. You are intentionally obfuscating your point by like hiding behind a wall of philosophy words, and that's fine. But I'm just pointing out that you're not engaging with the point, and this is more evidence that you're not engaging with the point, because as soon as you got called out on it, you started floundering and flailing. But that's fine, because we're just gonna get back on point, Q-Top.
Bro, you.
So the question is, Q-Top, Q-Top, the question is, when it says this statement is false, okay, that's fine.
Now he's muting me.
Yeah, that's fine. You can cry about it. So I just need you to answer the question though. Wait, do you want to answer the question? I just want to ask the question, Q-Top. Are you willing to answer questions, or are you going to keep on yapping? Are you going to keep on yapping, or do you want to answer the question? I'll let you. I'll ask you the question, and you can stay unmuted if you want to answer the question.
So 1 second. No.
Wait. Do you want to wait? Because you're either going to answer the question or you're going to sit down. Are you ready to answer the question? You ready to answer the question? You want to keep on dodging? You ready to answer the question? You're going to keep on dodging. Ready to answer the question? You're going to keep on dodging. Are you ready to keep? Are you ready? Are you ready to answer the question?
If you mute me again, then you're a runner. That's simple. If you mute
me, you're literally going to be the one who's leaving. So you're the runner. Wait. Subjectivity is the liar's paradox dependent on.
That literally means
whose subjectivity is the liar's paradox dependent on?
Before I answer that question, can you tell me
who's subjective? I never claimed that you didn't know one of the words, just that you were obfuscating.
Literally said you're using words that you don't know.
I'm saying that you're obfuscating with your word choice.
Bro, I have this recording. You quite literally said.
Let's get some baby bottles for Q-Top in the chat. We got a yapping. We got an angry Angela.
You quite literally said.
Paradox dependent on.
Bro, why are you running from this question?
Which
Why you literally
which
did?
subjectivity? Whose
Bro, I have this
subjectivity?
recorded.
I never
clip it
made
and
the
post it,
claim,
bro. You made
Yeah,
the
go for
claim.
it.
I am using words that I do not know. That's the claim that you made, Ian. Like you quite literally.
You're just
bro,
like
admit
stringing
that you
together
made
a
that
bunch of
claim.
philosophy words
Bro.
because you're trying to obfuscate your point. So I'm just asking you.
Bro, no.
I'm
What
wait. I'm
word
just
do
asking you
I-
a pretty basic
Ian,
question.
what word
Whose
do I not know?
subjectivity? Whose subjectivity? So the words are nonsensical. The
Ian,
words
I
are
will answer your
nonsensical in the
question if you answer
okay.
mine.
So the word
If
that
you
you're
admit-
using.
if you admit that
wait,
you
wait. The
gaslighted
words.
me-
Wait. The words that you're using nonsensically is subjective because whose subjectivity is
Ian.
the liar's paradox dependent on?
Ian, I will
Whose
answer, bro.
whose
I think you're
subjectivity?
running from my question, bro.
Who's,
I just,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want
So,
you
so
just
the word
I want
that you used
I want
wrongly,
you- bro,
the word that you used
I-
wrongly is subjective. So if you know
Bro,
the correct
bro,
definition,
you said
then that would just
I-
make you a liar.
you said- okay,
Subjective.
okay,
The word is
so-
subjective.
Okay, so how did I use that word incorrectly?
Yeah, so you used it incorrectly because there is no subjectivity involved in the liar's paradox. Who's the
I'm
liar's
not talking-
paradox subjective
I
to?
didn't even bring up the liar's paradox.
I brought it up.
addressing-
Wait,
Yeah,
I brought
that
it up
wasn't-
and you
but that
addressed
wasn't-
it.
Yeah, so what I said was, if you went all the way
It was
back,
your response was a response to the liar's paradox. Q-top. I'm just gonna ask you whose
yeah, so you
subjectivity is the
brought up-
liar's paradox dependent on?
Yeah. So, Ian, this is you running and just obfuscating, right? And so,
There's
so
no
what we do is-
obfuscation.
so
That's
you
literally
said-
you can just like
you
wait.
said I
If you're
don't-
gonna clip it, you should run
said-
that one back
you
too.
said I don't
Because that's
know how
literally
to
what this is
do-
in response to. You're just not tracking.
So I clearly, was
Yeah. So I clearly.
Okay, so you're just gonna keep interrupting me. Okay, so I clearly was providing an
You're just using
objection.
lots of filler words. Go for it.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna just wait till he starts talking. Are you done?
Yeah, I've been done for like 5 seconds now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I was providing a coherent and intellectual objection to the illustration that you brought about the heap example, and I was telling you how that proposition in itself, we wouldn't classify that as a justified proposition. We would just simply classify that as a contingent proposition. As the proposition in itself, the truth value of the proposition is going to be dependent on some sort of like intrinsic disposition or stance of a subject, right? And so then after I gave that objection, you said, well, you're just using words that you don't understand. So before we...
The word that you don't understand is subjective.
Okay. And so how exactly did I use that word incorrectly?
Yeah, so you used that word incorrectly because the point that I was making when you responded to it was specifically about the liar's paradox and the counterexamples that exist. So when I say a statement like this statement is false, whose subjectivity is that dependent on?
Yeah, so you didn't bring up the liar's paradox until after.
I did bring up the liar's paradox before.
So when you
we
say
got
the
gaslighting Gary over here.
So look, bro. So when you say the liar's paradox, are you specifically talking about the example of the heap that you gave?
No, the liar's paradox is this statement is false.
Okay, so
what's the truth value according to the classical laws of logic? What's the truth value of this statement is false?
Yeah, so that wouldn't be a so what you got to understand is the laws of logic, they're going to be propositionally dependent. So when we talk about propositions, we're going to be talking about some sort of like some sort of statement that has a truth value. So you're just pretty much bringing up something that we wouldn't necessarily classify as like propositionally dependent.
And why does it not have a truth value?
But again. Why does
the liar's paradox not have a truth value?
But again, because that statement wouldn't be truth. That wouldn't be a.
Why not? Well, that's the conclusion. That's what I just asked you. Wait, so why would this not be truth apt?
Yeah, because it's not justified. It's not. It wouldn't be derivative of some sort of like unifying principle. So when we say
it is. Absolutely, it is. Yeah. Because if you evaluate the liar's paradox in a system of logic that can actually handle paradoxes, a system of logic like fuzzy logic, for example, you would find that the liar's paradox has a truth value of like 0.5.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't really. So you're saying that liar's paradox is what exactly?
So the liar's paradox is a disproof of logical monism, insofar as there are other logical systems which are capable of handling things like the liar's paradox. That there's propositions, there's truths about reality that classical logic, the thing that you defend, is not capable of accounting for, because there's lots of different cases when it comes to logic. Lots of things can be So all it means for something to be logical is it's a system where if all the premises are true, then so is the conclusion, and that these rules hold across, like universally across whatever
So
language
how
it's
it-
restricted to. But the problem is that you can restrict it or unrestricted to specific languages. So for example, classical logic needs to restrict its language to avoid things like paradoxes, like the liar's paradox. That's why every time I ask you, what's the truth value of the liar's paradox? You have to say, well, it's non-propositional, but it is propositional in
Yeah,
other
so I think-
logics.
Yeah, so you say in other logics, that's how I was going to say, like, how you're going to be defining proposition, because we wouldn't say in like classical logic that would be considered like what we would call a justified proposition. So that's why, like, because people use, I've actually heard the liar's paradox before. I was asking you to get clarification on like what you mean when you say the liar's paradox. We would just simply say so like, okay, so let me ask you this question. Like, do you know what I mean when I say a justified proposition? Like,
There's going to be multiple different theories of justification, so it depends on yours.
Yeah, but I'm saying, okay, so like, can you give me like, so like, do you know like the classical use of when we say a justified proposition? Like you know, like what we mean when in classical logic when we say justified proposition?
That seems like more of an epistemology claim rather than a logic claim.
Yeah, it quite literally is. It's going to demonstrate if you have any sort of like coherency and like.
Yeah, just that you have like a reason to think that the thing is true.
No, so yeah, so
that's what a
but I think that
justification literally is.
Yeah, so that's not what we mean, and when we say justified.
Source? Wait, I can just pull it. This is like I don't know why you would like.
So-
and I know you want to seem like really intelligent, but this is like super
Yeah,
easy. I can just pull the definition of justification.
Yeah, so and
Wait,
that's-
so the act of showing something to be right or reasonable, and my answer. So the definition, the literal definition, is the action of showing something to be right or reasonable. Whereas my definition was a reason to think that something is true.
Yeah, so that's gonna.
It's like bar for bar the exact same thing.
Yeah. So
and you can fake laugh if you want, but my answer was like 100% correct.
Yeah, it literally wasn't. So
wait, and what's the argument for why my answer was not correct?
Yeah, so you have no idea what we mean in classical logic when we say justified proposition.
I just gave you a definition, and it's like exactly the same thing as the definition.
Yeah, so you use the
and I agree, we can
definition
like fake laugh to hold back the tears of getting blown out this hard.
bro, you can
but I
say
just
that.
don't know, like
You're
you
coping.
can.
You're
It's
literally
okay to like accept when somebody else gives the right answer.
Bro, you're literally coping. Like,
you think, and you're projecting. You always do this, Q-Top. Every time you get trapped and cornered,
I think you're projecting.
It's project a clock.
I think you're projecting, bro. I'm gonna be real with you.
Wait, yeah, you're literally projecting your projection onto me. You were literally projecting. This is, and I agree. You can fake laugh to hold back the tears because I'm reading you like a book. I'm like flipping through you. I got you on lock, Q-Top.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're giving like a false description of reality there. But so yeah, I think you're just like fundamentally misinformed to like what we say when we say justified proposition. So
it's going to be exactly the same. Do you even wait? Can you even summarize what my definition was?
Can I like
wait? Can you summarize before you give your definition
right now, bro?
Before you give your definition, would you mind just like restating what my definition was?
Dude, why are you?
Would you mind restating what my definition was?
Dude, why are you so?
Could you tell me what my definition was, or were you not listening?
Why are you so
wait, Q-Top, could you?
Guy, this is like.
Can you tell me what my definition was, or were you not listening? Q-Top, can you tell me what my definition was, or were you not listening?
They literally have like no.
Do you want your grand? We got a grandstanding Gary over here. Can't win the argument, so instead we're just grandstanding.
And they start.
Do you remember what my definition was or not? You can just say that you don't know what my definition was. It's okay. It's okay to not know. Let's just skip. Let's skip the. We got a meta commentary Mary over here. Let's just skip the meta commentary Q and let's skip the points.
We have a gaslighting.
Yeah. I already used it. We got a plagiarizing Pete over here because I already used that one.
We have an irrational Ian.
Wait, we got a stealing Sylvester over here. He can't come up with his own lines. Robert, thank you so much for the $2 on Cash App for Q-Top is really dumb.
We have a. Do
you want to skip the meta and get to the substance? Nobody cares about the meta. Nobody cares about the meta. Nobody cares about the meta. Do you want to just get to the substance?
We have a bloviating bill.
Wait, this is.
We have a bloviating.
Do you want to get to the substance, or are we just going to do this?
We have a bloviating bill over here, guys.
Do you want to get to the substance? We got a dodging Daniel over here. He can't get to the substance. We got a substance-less Sylvester over here. Meta commentary Mary.
Yo, look, and I'm gonna be honest, bro. I just destroyed you in this debate. This is.
Do you remember the question that I just asked you?
Or
were you not listening?
Yeah,
Wait, do you remember the question that I just asked you, or were you not listening?
Yeah. What do we mean by justified proposition?
Yeah, I already gave you an answer to this. Do you remember what my answer was?
Your answer was incorrect. So you want me
what
to
was
tell
my
you
answer? Wait, if it was incorrect, what was the answer?
Let me tell you what. I don't know exactly verbatim.
You literally. So the answer that you're saying is wrong. You don't even remember.
I know. I
you
remember.
don't
I don't
even
know
remember
verbatim.
it.
I don't know verbatim.
Do you remember why it was wrong? Pete, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. W Pete, W666, W Satan, hail Satan. Let's get a big W Pete in the comment section. You have no idea.
Right,
so you're gonna call it wrong?
So, no,
you have no idea what
I know
it
the
is.
gist of what you said. I just don't.
Yeah,
know
what's the gist?
Yeah,
Summarize it back to us.
So you just provided like the colloquial definition of justification, which is just simply to give like support or something, or to give like some sort of like reason.
Yeah, and what definition are you looking for?
Yeah, so I was looking for the definition when we talk about like classical logic and
yeah, and what's that definition? Go ahead.
Yeah, so finally you actually let me give you the definition.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so a justified proposition is going to be a proposition that entails some sort of like truth validity. And when we say truth validity, we're just going to be saying that the proposition has the capability of being necessarily true. So like when we say that God knows all justified true propositions, we define proposition as just sort of like knowledge in which is necessary, in which to say that the proposition has the capacity to have truth value. So when you say like when I ask you like what do I mean when I say
your definition is exactly the same as my definition. So my definition again is just
it literally is not.
Wait. So my definition again is just
Frank over here.
Am I frozen? Is that true?
Yeah. Yep. We got a frozen Frankie over here.
Am I frozen?
Yep. We got a frozen Frank over here, guys. That's what we got over here, guys. We have a frozen Frankie.
Damn.
We have a bad connection.
You don't even know what word bad connection starts with. You don't even know what letter it starts with. It would be a bad connection, Barry. We got a hysteric Henry over here. we got a coping Corey over here.
We got a bad
faith Barry over here.
We have a stealing Sammy over here. We have a stealing Sam over here.
What's the stealing thing? We got a projecting Priscilla over here.
Yeah, yep. We have a lying Larry over here, guys. We have a lying Larry over here. That's
what's
what
the lie? Let's hear it.
We have a lying here that I'm projecting.
What's the lie?
I'm not projecting. Yeah,
what's the lie?
I'm not projecting.
Wait, yes, you are projecting. That's not a lie.
No, I'm not. That's
So and the fact that you said that that's a lie means that you're a lying Larry.
No, you're a lying Larry, bro. You just stole. You're a stealing Sam.
Someone poured water on you. Wait, Q-Top. Yeah. You lost the debate so badly that you needed to start doing this meta commentary. You know, it's like fun when you do like one or two names, but when your argument, you literally can't argue the point at all. To the point where all you can do is call me names. So a name here or there, that's fine. I don't care about that. But when you lose the argument so badly that all you can do is regurgitate these names which are stolen from me, that's pathetic.
Gaslighting Gary. Here goes gaslighting Gary.
You're still doing it. Someone poured water on you. You're short circuiting.
Because you keep gaslighting me saying that I lost, bro. If you think I lost this argument,
I didn't say that you lost. I actually did say that you lost. No, that's true. Absolutely, yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah.
No, dude,
no, that's fine. Yeah.
Words that are coming out of your mouth. He said, "Oh, I didn't say that you lost. Oh, I actually did say that you bro, Ian, dude."
No, it's okay. I forgot what happened like 5 seconds ago. That's my bad. I'll take the L on that one.
Ian, this is really bad, bro.
Yeah.
This is really bad. Bro.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I had to suppress lots of the conversation because it was really brutal for you.
Bro,
yeah.
Dude, this is bad.
Yeah, I can't sleep with myself at night knowing the things that I've done to you, Q-Top.
This is who y'all look up to.
Q-Top, are you interested? But seriously, wait, Q-Top. Are you interested in engaging in the argument, or do you want to do this
Yeah,
for
so
like
I've
however
been
long.
engaged. I've been engaged. You just define justify proposition totally incorrectly when we talk about.
Oh wait,
classical.
do you think definitions are true? Do you think definitions are propositional?
No, because
Wait, so how can I define it incorrectly if definitions aren't propositional? Go ahead.
Yeah, because definitions have a context that you're referring to, and so like when we talk about like the philosophical definition of a word, it's gonna be simply gonna be denoting like the way that philosophers define this term, especially when if you're gonna be
Wait, so which philosopher defines it in the way that you define it? Go ahead.
Yeah, Bonson defines it this way.
Wait, what's the name? Let's see it.
Greg Bonson.
Frank Bonson.
I said Greg Bonson.
Greg Bonson, where?
You can look up, if you look up the book Pushing the Antithesis, he gives a definition of these things.
Okay.
But you may have to like download the book though if you got a PDF of it.
Okay. That's no problem.
But yeah, if you want, I actually buy the book for you, bro, and just send it over to you.
That's okay. I know you're strapped for cash.
I'm strapped for bro, look at this gaslighting Gary over here. Like, bro.
No, we all know that you were begging Parker for money.
Bro, now he's changing up, bro. All right.
Wait.
No way.
So I'm just saying, like, you don't need to send me anything. I know that you need the money.
Way. Bro, Ian, listen, bro. Are you for real right now?
Absolutely.
Bro,
this is like,
bro, there ain't no way, bro. Ian, there ain't no way you about to do this right now, bro.
this is like a super easy debate for me.
He is really having a, bro, do y'all see this is a bloviating bill over here? Like, are you for real? Bro, why are you bringing
really
up
want to do
something
this
that's
again?
totally unrelated? Like, what is you talking about, bro?
Because, so we've already done this once before where we played the clip of you saying, my Cash App is this one. And then you can just like do the parentheses search and then go back and see that it's your Cash App, that Cash App is your Cash App.
Bro, Ian, there's no way you're doing this right now, bro. Can we get back to the topic?
Listen, I didn't, it was just like a short little jab, but you're the one who like took it here. But no, that's true. That's just a fact.
Bro, it's not a fact, bro. I don't
Absolutely is a fact. Yeah. Wait, do you want the evidence?
Bro, do y'all see how he totally just deflects from the argument? Because, bro, you're bringing up something that is totally false.
Because you said, wait, you literally said, do you want me to buy the book for you?
I could buy the book for you. I didn't mean, bro, I wasn't meaning that like you didn't have the money to buy the book. I'm just trying to help you out, saying I could just buy it for you, bro. I wasn't meaning
That's okay. I definitely don't want you to do that.
Okay.
Oh, okay, wait. So you're saying that classical philosophers define it this way, but this person's not a classical philosopher, so.
I said in classical logic. I said when we're talking about classical logic, when Greg.
Sure. Wait. So insofar as justification is going to be the study of epistemology and not logic, I think you're going to be a bit confused here.
What?
So justification is a property that's true in epistemology. Epistemology studies justification, not logic.
Not necessarily.
Necessarily, yeah. Logic is just a system. Logic is the study of validity. Justification is how we come to know true things. So justification is going to be a question of epistemology, which means that your statement is automatically false insofar as classical logicians don't give definitions of justification.
Yeah, so that's actually incorrect. So when we talk about justification, sort of like ontological sense, it's just going to be knowing that this proposition has truth validity.
What's the ontology of a justification?
Bro, I never said there's ontology justification.
You literally just said ontology. You said it in an ontological sense. What's the ontology of justification?
What was the exact words I said?
Yeah, you said on an ontological sense, justification is just going to be like X, Y, or Z.
No, that's not what I said.
We got gaslighting Gary over here.
That's not what I said, bro. Dude, I have all this recorded. I'll repeat what I said.
Then clip it, run it.
Yeah, I have it clipped. But look,
let's hear it. Let's run it.
So look, all my Christians just dropped me a follow in the chat as well, and my Cash App.
Oh my God, you're desperate. Don't come here just to beg. That's sad. That's so sad.
My Cash App's in the bio, y'all. But look, when we talk about justified proposition,
That's so. Wait, why would you plug that? That's so sad.
okay. So yes or no? Do you plug your Cash App on your?
Yeah, because it's my stream. I would never come onto someone else's stream to plug my Cash App. Plugging your Cash App on somebody else's stream is insane. I would never in a million years do that on your.
Plug my Cash App.
Yeah, you just want to come onto like big platforms and then plug it.
It's wrong for me to plug my Cash App.
Absolutely,
now,
yeah. When you're on someone else's stream, absolutely, yeah. Fuck yeah.
Because I am helping all these Christians in the chat that you are trying to deceive. I am helping them actually understand that you can destroy people like you and your weak arguments.
You think that you've been destroying anything? You literally said that the death of 400 billion babies is good at the start of this conversation. You haven't been destroying anything.
Bro, what I said, bro, first of all, thank you so much for gaslighting me, because you actually are gaslighting me.
That's exactly what you said. Wait, we can just run the argument back. That's like super easy. Wait, so was the death of these 400 billion babies good insofar as God did it?
Yeah. So are you providing an internal critique?
Yeah, it's an internal critique. Is it good?
Yeah. So when you say, yeah, 1 second. So when you say you're providing an internal critique, are you assuming that God's nature is necessarily good?
Yeah.
Okay, and so by that definition, then by that standard, then the question that you're asking would just be a nonsensical. It would just be
no, it's not nonsensical. It's trivial. Not nonsensical. Trivial.
It just would be how you're using those words semantically. But if you're gonna say,
do you think trivial is nonsensical? Do you think things that are trivial are nonsensical? Do you think when I say when I say A equals A, do you think that's nonsensical? When I say, so let's say that I have a friend named Gary, and Gary is an unmarried man, and we define bachelor to be an unmarried man, and I say Gary's a bachelor. Do you think that's nonsensical?
Look, brother, words just depend on the way that you're using them, right? So when I said that proposition or that question itself would just be nonsensical, I'm just simply saying it would just be irrelevant, because the question that you're posing is in the sense that God in Himself is doing something that is wrong or bad. That's the innate.
No, wait. So then you would agree that it was good for God to kill these 400 billion babies.
But it depends on how you're defining good. If you're just
it's an internal critique. So in your view, is it good that God killed these 400 billion babies?
Yeah. So we would just say, again, it would depend on how you define, like what.
It's an internal critique, big dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I am a big dog, but it just simply will refer to like what you actually mean.
That's so sad. Why would you do that? That's embarrassing. I'm getting cringe.
Bro,
it's an internal. I know that you know what an internal critique is.
I know that you're like kind of depressed that you're a beta male, but like people like me actually people like me like actually hit the gym. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big boy. You feel me?
I don't give a fuck.
And so if I seen you, and so if you were trying to press me, bro, in the street, you feel what I'm saying? Jesus said, I can defend myself. So if it was me and you, right?
Wait, I don't give a.
Hey, look,
wait,
homie.
This is
Hey,
so
look,
weird.
Hey, look, homie. If it was me and you in the streets,
who's talking about fighting? This is so weird,
bro. Look, I could do the philosophy, but I'm also,
Shirley, thanks so much for the Q-Top or for the $15 on Venmo. W Shirley in the comment section. Q-Top has defended pedophilia. That's true.
Now I'm saying this is me. See, look, they think Christians can't be smart, and they think Christians can't, do it all. You feel me? I do it all by the grace of God. I got muscles,
not a single motherfucker cares. Q.
I destroyed your arguments. This is me, homie.
Nobody cares.
This is me, homie. You feel me?
Cares.
Now look, back to the argument.
Yeah, back to the argument.
When you say good, it depends on by what disposition you're referring to that. Because
do you know what an internal critique is?
Define it for me.
It's where you presuppose the other person's worldview and then find contradictions within it based on the presuppositions.
Okay, and so how does that refute what I was saying?
So we're presupposing your worldview.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so it's your definition of good, Q.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to ask you, by what disposition are you referring to that? And I can explain.
What do you mean by disposition?
Let me explain. That's what I keep trying to do, and you keep interrupting me. Yeah. So when we say disposition, when you say the word good, it's either going to be the case that you're referring to a proposition in comparison to God's moral law, or a
Tyler, thanks so much for the $15 on Venmo. W Tyler in the comment section. Tyler has a question for you. Tyler wants to know, how do you define mature? Wait, Q, come back. Don't run.
I got a call.
Oh, that's fine. But Tyler on Venmo wants you to define mature.
Bro, why do they keep doing it? Bro, Christ gang, and all my Christians in the chat, do y'all see what they keep doing? Bro,
I'm just asking for a definition of, is it, so for me, mature would probably be like 18 or older.
Keep doing it, bro.
So mature for me would be like 18 or older. But I'm just asking because maybe it's different for you. What would mature be for you?
Bro, you are a coward. Bro,
I'm just asking, what would mature be for you?
All my Christians, the Cash App is in the bio, man. I love y'all
that's
so much.
so cringe.
Thank you so much, Johnny, for the $20
God, that's so cringe.
Thank you so much, Johnny.
Can I get the definition?
I really appreciate that.
Is it, or should I just default to the last definition that you gave, which is that like a 16-year-old could be mature?
Thank you so much for the $7.70.
That's fine. Yeah, wait. So we can just like default to the last definition. Sorry, person who Venmoed, the last definition Q-Top gave is just that like a 15 or like a 16-year-old could be mature. Shirley, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. Q-Top is a pedo apologist. L Q-Top. W Shirley in the comment section. $50 is incredible. I appreciate the hell out of that, Shirley. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bro. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all something. All my Christians, man, this is what happens, bro. When you really know your stuff and you come on here and expose these folks, they gonna always do this bloviating and prevaricating type of tactics, bro. He did the same thing with my homie Darth Dawkins, bro. That's my homie. You know, he did the same thing with Darth Dawkins. They always do the same thing.
Darth Dawkins got humiliated.
Bro, Darth Dawkins did get humiliated, bro. Darth Dawkins is like the final boss of apologists.
Wait, you should watch the debate between Graham Oppie and Darth Dawkins on YouTube if you want to hear how well respected Darth Dawkins is or how sensical his questions are. If you put him up against like a real deal PhD philosopher, Graham Oppie has no fucking idea what he's talking about.
Oh, you just said Graham Oppie has no idea what he's talking about? I know.
Yeah. Wait, what was it?
You just said Graham Oppie has no idea what he's talking about.
Graham Oppie had no idea what Darth Dawkins was talking about. The he is Darth Dawkins.
Yes, that's not what you. No, you said no. You said Graham Oppie has no idea.
Yeah, in the debate between Graham Oppie and Darth Dawkins, Graham Oppie had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. Because that's how incoherent Darth Dawkins is.
I don't think Darth Dawkins is incoherent. I think that Darth Dawkins. I actually I've heard of that debate and was a part of it because I disagree with Darth Dawkins on a couple of things. I don't think Darth Dawkins is bulletproof. I think if a philosopher really knows how to attack the position, if you're not a Calvinist, if a philosopher knows how to attack that. But I would say all props to Darth Dawkins. Darth, if you're hearing this or anybody clipping this, I love Darth. It's just me and Darth disagree on Calvinism because I am a Calvinist and I believe that if you're not a Calvinist, even if philosophers, as you know, and I got to give Ian a little bit of credit. If Ian, studied the different arguments, he could be able to pick Darth apart in certain areas. But when it comes to God's existence, Darth knows how to defend God. And I actually, the argument that he runs some sort of like performative transcendental argument now. It's a pretty dope argument. But,
wait, do you think actions do you think actions are propositional?
Actions are proposition. No, we wouldn't necessarily say actions are proposition.
Then how can you have a contradiction from a performance?
Oh no! When we say performative contradiction, we're just saying that the denial, it's some sort of like reductio ad absurdum. So yeah, we don't use. Yeah, so I get what you're using performance in a sort of like colloquial sense.
In the action of rejecting God, that you've like done a contradiction, but that implies a contradiction is a property. It's like a result of two propositions. So in order for you to say that an action leads to a contradiction, you would need to say that that actions are propositional, which is insane. Like, what's the truth value of me eating a hamburger?
Yeah, so we're not necessarily saying that actions in themselves are propositional. When we say performative contradiction, and again, bro, it's just semantics, just the way that we're using the words. When we say performative contradiction, all that's going to be simply denoting is that the denial of the proposition in itself would just result in some sort of reductio ad absurdum. That your worldview. So like what Darth runs is that essentially, if you don't hold to like a unifying principle, which is God, by which all propositions are derived from, you won't have the necessary background information to speak meaningfully about the world. So when you say, look, there's a tree, I'm pretty sure you're like a nominalist, correct? You're like,
in what sense?
In the sense that you don't hold to like the universal world of forms. You don't hold that there is.
I'm definitely not a Platonist. That shit's dumb as fuck. That's like the dumbest position that you can have. Platonism is so stupid. Why would you ever adopt that willingly?
Wait.
Platonism's like the worst position. It's so bad. When an engineer creates a new thing, was there like a form just waiting, or does a new form pop into existence?
Yeah. So when we say universal word of forms, like, what do you think I'm talking about?
Yeah, so in the Platonic conception, just that there's like this like external world that actually exists, that has like the ideal like person and the ideal chair and the ideal horse, and that everything in this world just lives up to like this ideal.
Some sort of, yeah. So that, like idealism, yeah. So I'm an idealist, but I wouldn't hope so. When we say idealism, we're just gonna be simply referring to like that the external world, which is simply gonna be mind dependent. So I would assume, because you can't hold to like direct realism or naive realism, and I'm sure you can't hold to indirect realism, but I'm sure that's probably what you hold to.
Wait,
right?
realism in terms of what?
Yeah. So do you believe the external world exists? Like mind independent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, do you perceive the external world directly or indirectly?
What do you mean by that?
So like, yeah, so like when you look at a tree, right, this treeness is the tree is in what you would call the external world, right? So when you look at the tree, are you and the concept that you get in your mind of that tree is the concept that you get in your mind perfectly, is that a perfect representation of the external world? Because that would just be called naive realism.
I mean, obviously not insofar as like ideas aren't trees.
Yeah, but I'm saying like when you get a concept of a tree, like for instance, I'm gonna keep it real simple. Look, you're looking at me, right? Is it the case that is it the case that you are perceiving me directly, or are you perceiving me indirectly? In the sense that when you have a concept of me in your mind, is that concept a perfect description of what you're actually seeing in the external world?
Wait, could you define directly and indirectly?
Yeah, direct is just going to be the sense that the external is in the sense that the external world, as it is communicating to your mind what is actually being shown. Indirectly mean that when John Locke talks about secondary qualities, it is the case that there is some sort of that the external world is producing these secondary qualities. So like color, a texture, all these things are going to be some sort of like secondary quality by which your brain is then interpreting that, because there's problems with direct realism and indirect realism. Because go ahead.
I guess in my mind, the way it works is that like I look at the tree and then the light comes off of the tree into my eyes, and then my eyes produces like the experience of seeing this tree.
But like you would so like you would admit though that color is not something that is in the external world, right? That color is just light it's light bouncing off of an object. So color itself, we can agree that color is not in the external world.
So the experience of looking at a color, like the way that we experience blue, that's probably not in the external world. All that there is like the wavelengths.
Okay, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So that means that you would hold to indirect realism, because direct realists would say that everything in the external world, even colors, you are perceiving that directly, that colors actually exist as a thing in the external world. You would agree that colors don't exist as something in the external world.
I'm specifically going to say like the experience of it, that the way we experience colors don't exist in the external world because experience is necessarily internal. But I think that our experiences arise based on the interaction of external things in our brains.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm saying, okay, so then you will hold to indirect realism. So do you believe that you're not actually perceiving the external world as it really is, but the external world, you're perceiving what we call secondary qualities of the external world, that your brain is conceptualizing the secondary qualities or as John Locke, he calls it sensory data, right? And so it is the case that that the idea you gain, because everything is an idea, bro. That's just the first. If you reject that, then I can't even have a conversation with you, because now you're saying that there is something other than idea by which you are perceiving reality, and I don't know what that even means. So
okay, wait. So
yeah.
Have you read up on like Taoism at all?
I have not.
Are you familiar with like the basic premise of Taoism?
You have to enlighten me now. I haven't read them.
Yeah, it's just that like our minds put everything into like these categories, but like because we put things into categories, we like forget the reality of the situation. Basically, that like the world is not categories; the world's like atoms or whatever. But we just like put it into these categories, and there's like no way to escape these categories. That that categories are like inescapable, basically. But I think that there is like a real object that's like being like vaguely gestured at in all of this, that even if I can't put it into words, because words are always going to be representative of like an idea, I still think that the idea is an idea of something that is like outside of ideas, that it's like pointing to something. The reference of the idea itself is going to be something that is external and like a real object that actually exists.
Yeah, but you would admit though that like your only perception of this external world is in the form of a concept or idea. That there's nothing of like when you perceive a tree, your perception of that tree is an idea in your mind of what you're perceiving, right? Like
sure. I mean, I could probably agree. Like the entirety of my experience of reality is going to be through thoughts, but thoughts themselves arise from the material structure that is the brain.
Yeah, that I mean, you can believe that. That's a whole nother conversation. I'm just saying, like you would agree though that like everything that you're perceiving in so-called external world is mind independent. That you're perceiving a concept of these things. So then I guess like my question to you would be, if it is the case that everything that you perceive in reality, because this is the conversation between direct realism, indirect realism, and idealism. You don't hold to direct realism because we all would agree that colors aren't actually something in the external world. That colors are just light bouncing off of an object and then you perceiving that thing. So you don't hold to direct realism or naive realism. And your only other options are indirect realism and idealism. So if you hold to indirect realism just says that, again, when you perceive something in the external world, it is not the case that you're perceiving the external world as it directly is. You are perceiving the sensory data of the external world. And this is what John Locke calls primary and secondary qualities. That there are some primary qualities which exist in the external world, and there's secondary qualities that you are perceiving of the primary qualities. So would you hold to indirect realism? Because I can show you how that's just going to run into idealism.
Maybe I think I would. I personally hate philosophy of mind, so I'm maybe that seems like that could be my stance. I'm just not sure. I think I'd need to read up on it more. But I do appreciate the descriptions, definitely.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I would definitely look into it, bro, because what you're going to find out, right, is that indirect realism has its own problems, because it is the case that if we're not able to perceive the external world as it directly is, well, we don't have any like epistemic certainty that the external world even exists, or that it would be coherent, meaning that the causal principle or that the uniformity of nature would stand. Because if you're simply saying that I cannot perceive the external world as it actually is, well, then the question is, well, what reason do I have even to believe that the external world even exists? And that's where we get to idealism, which it is the case that all of the external world is mind independent, but it's not human mind independent, because the human mind is not necessary and it cannot ground what we call the causal principle and the uniformity of nature. That's why when I leave a room and I come back into the room, it is the case that every item in the room is exactly where I left it, that there is some sort of uniformity, right? And this uniformity is all going to be derived by the transcendental mind of God, that it is the case that God actually grounds the external world. He grounds everything in the external world. And so I would just encourage you to kind of look into that, because there's only three options. And if you hold to indirect realism, it's just going to run into idealism.
Yeah, I mean, I have good reason to reject idealism just on the basis that I think it's like, I think that the coherent view is just that materialism is true, basically, that the world looks more or less exactly as we would expect it to look if naturalism was true. And to some extent, I think naturalism probably entails materialism.
Well, my problem with materialism is that that it would be the case that anything that is material is going to be subjected to some sort of like immaterial metaphysic. So like when you say something is material, you would even hold to like logic existing. So when you say like materialism, are you just simply saying that there are no sort of like metaphysical notions that exist, or you would just simply say that like the world is just material, like there's no
That the fundamental substance of reality is material, that when you dig down deep into like the structure of causality, that what you're going to get producing all of these ideas is atoms, that all of our ideas come from the brain, a structure which is built of atoms.
Wait, so then you're saying that something that is material is necessary? Because then you're going to run into a lot of problems with that, bro.
Well, I mean, I would just hold that the universe always existed.
But is it necessary though?
I think that there's like really complex like physics stuff because matter isn't conserved, which is kind of a problem. So
Yeah,
it's like there's literally no logical contradiction or like even like a physical contradiction with matter just like appearing out of nowhere. In fact, it like literally happens all of the time. There's specific effects that wherein an atom that used to not exist will just poof into existence. So I don't know.
Are you talking about like some sort of like quantum vacuum?
No, not even like a quantum thing. It's just like there's like a specific effect that causes atoms to just pop into existence out of nothing.
Yeah, I would have to. Yeah, and this is I've never. Do you have like any? Because I the only thing that I've seen is some sort of like quantum superposition or like quantum vacuum theory, which states how like particles spawn in and out of existence. But I've actually already debunked that because particles don't actually spawn in and out of existence. It is the case that these particles are contained in an environment and they're accelerated, and it just seems as if they're popping in and out of existence, but they're not actually popping in and out of existence. They're in a condensed environment and they're accelerated to a rate by which it just seems that they're popping out of existence, but they're actually not. They're still derived from the actual source. Because to say something can come from nothing would just be a contradiction to me.
Oh yeah, okay, wait. So it's the Schwinger effect.
The Schwinger. Okay, let me look that up real quick.
Yep.
Let me look that up real quick. Is that a theory, or is that something that we can observe?
I think this is observed, but I think it was just observed recently.
Oh, it was just observed. Okay, wait. Okay, well, put me on. Let me. 1 second. Let me get my laptop right now.
Observation of an analog process.
So you're saying this is a show where particles are spawning in and out of existence out of nothing?
Yeah. So you need I think you need like a strong electric field, but then
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
From within the strong electric field, like particles literally just like appear out of nothing.
But that's not out of nothing though, because they're still contained in this electric field. That's what I'm saying. Because
wait, they don't come from the electric field. So the electric field exists, and then within this electric field, they just like appear.
Yeah,
but they didn't exist elsewhere. They existed nowhere.
But yeah, to me though, that wouldn't be coming out of nothing. Because again, if you're just because when you say nothing, if you're just simply going to be like denoting like some sort of location, or it is the case that this particle. Again, when I say nothing, nothing is the absence of all property. So I don't even believe that nothing can exist because for nothing to nothing existing would or.
I know it's okay. I know what you're saying. Yeah, just that.
Yeah, it would just be. It would be a contradiction.
It's like a non-property. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would just be some sort of like contradiction in my eyes because for something to exist, it must have a property of existence. So to say nothing exists, that would just be a fundamental contradiction. The P is that nothing is a lack of properties, and the non-P is that existence is a property. So you cannot have the lacking of properties and a property at the same time. So to me, nothing existing, it doesn't make any sense. That's why like when you say coming out of nothing. Now I will look that up to kind of see because I've heard of like the particle acceleration. Wait, what is it called, brother?
It's called the Schwinger effect.
Okay, the Schwinger. Schwinger effect. Yeah, I got it right here. All right, let me see. The quantum. So it's a quantum phenomenon whereby matter is created by a strong electric field. It's a predicted physical.
So but the problem that it gets at is that there's literally no law of physics that says that matter is conserved. Like lots of things are conserved. I'm pretty sure energy is conserved. I don't know what else is conserved, but I know like lots of things are conserved. Matter's not conserved. So if we discovered a law of the universe tomorrow that says that like, well, matter can just appear under these circumstances, there would be literally no contradiction with physics.
Yeah. So I mean, you say with physics, but I think there's like metaphysical contradictions. So I would agree. Like, I don't think there will be some sort of like contradictions in physics in terms of like what we know now. But I would just say that there would be like just mainly like metaphysical problems with that. But yeah, I'll look more into the Schwinger effect, man. I know you probably got some other guests. I actually think this kind of ended like pretty decent, bro. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even come up here, bro, to just like be rude or nothing. I generally came here to just have like an intellectual conversation. So yeah, I do actually have a call because I actually had a call that I actually missed. I got to get back to.
No, you're super chilling. Yeah. Well, appreciate the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. And again, like the last thing I'll say, 1 second, Ian, before you go ahead and kick me, bro. The last thing I'll say is just look, bro. Look, man, just in all seriousness, everybody on the live, Jesus Christ is Lord, man. And y'all need to repent, man, because I love y'all boys. And Ian, thank you so
preach.
No, bro, this is the last thing I'll say, bro, because we've been having to end it. Because I think, bro, look, I think this ended good, bro. This only thing I say.
Wait. That doesn't let you preach. Come on.
Look, bro.
Come on. Don't like push the hospitality. Come on.
Okay. All right, bro. All right.
Well, appreciate you coming on up here.
All right.
All right. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. I got to end stream because ironically enough, I got to go to the gym, but I appreciate all of you. Love all of you. We're going to go rate Parker. Parker just went live on Parker Get a Job. If you want to join the community and you want to read philosophy papers, we're doing a philosophy paper reading group in my Discord this Saturday. We're reading Logical Problems of Evil and The Free Will Defense by Graham Oppie. He's my favorite philosopher of all time. Love him to death. He's wonderful. And we're going to read it together, but only join if you're 18 or older. There's a link to the Discord in my bio. It's discord.gg/allegedlyian. I'd love to see all of you there. If you're feeling up and at 'em, but yeah, it's going to be fun. Otherwise, I love all of you. I'll see you all tomorrow. Hope you have a good one, and I'll talk to y'all later. All right, see you at Parker Get a Job. We're